The following is brought to you in part by a grant from the Foundation for White Wellbeing.
Oh! The night is young and the road is long. We got the groove, we got that song. It's the sound of freedom, it's loud and clear. Crank it up, we're bringing the cheer. From the smoky bars to the open air, we light it up, we're everywhere. The beat kicks in, we move with the flow. Born to rock, let's steal the show. Feel that rhythm, it's in our bones. Every chord shakes the stones. Rock and roll, it's in the air. Westmen grooving everywhere. Feel the rhythm, feel the soul. Living life in full control. The night is young and the road is long. We got that groove, we got that song. It's the sound of freedom, it's loud and clear. Crank it up, we're bringing the cheer. From smoky bars to the open air, we light it up, we're everywhere. The beat kicks in, we move with the flow. Born to rock, let's steal the show. Feel that rhythm, it's in our bones. Every chord shakes the stones. Rock and roll, it's in the air. Westmen grooving everywhere. Feel the rhythm, feel the soul. Living life in full control. Feel that rhythm, it's in our bones. Every chord shakes the stones. Rock and roll, it's in the air. Westmen grooving everywhere. Feel the rhythm, feel the soul. Living life in full control. Full control. We ride the sound like a midnight train. Through the joy, the fire, the rain. With every note, we claim our space. Rocking hard with style and grace. The amps are hot, the crowd's alive. No rules here, just feel the vibe. The groove keeps rolling, hearts beat fast. Westward bound, we're built to last. Oh, rock and roll, it's in the air. Westmen grooving everywhere. Feel the rhythm, feel the soul. Living life in full control. Living life in full control. Living life in full control.
The idea that whites will not be the majority. I mean, it's an exciting transformation of the country. It's an exciting evolution and progress of our country.
And we are rolling in, going free. I am your hierarch, Jason Nakuna. Let me know that you can hear me okay. And it's glorious to see everybody here today. Wonderful, wonderful Wednesday roll-in, Biospirit of the West, pointing it out. Yes, indeed, Wednesday roll-in. Your hierarch is with you, and we are recapturing the destiny of Western kind with every single move we make. We just had a glorious interview over with Dr. Joseph Ford Cotto yesterday. You want to check that out on his X account, and I've shared it. You'll find it in my thread on Twitter, on X. Check that out. Let me just make sure we are rolling over here on. Yes, we are indeed. And Dallas Malloy is already over there on Premium Rumble. Great to see you. Dan is here. Sean is here. Ancestral Wolf is here. Audio is great, says Dan. Thank you so much for the feedback, brother. Cool Baba J Magic in the house. Justin is here. Sean Hales, Hierarch 07. Let's get some likes. Let's get some likes going over here. Do we have any likes going? Yeah, we got some likes. Get some likes in there. Make sure you share the stream. Justin McDaniel, Rapunzel, Jerome V is with us. Great to see you. Yeah, we want to bring as many people as we can, as usual. If you would like to financially gift me while we are here today, you can do so by dropping down in the description. You'll find the links for the app that permits cash. You'll find Subscribestar. You'll find Entropy, the Dude Bro Moment platform, which is up and running. You'll find Premium Rumble, also up and running. Of course, you can tag me on all of those. Plus, you can tag me on D Live for now. They're only around for a couple more days and they're gone. I understand. Odyssey as well, up and running. You can tag me here on X, and I'll look for it, and on YouTube. Obviously, make sure on YouTube to switch it over to live chat. And when you tag me, it is @ no white guilt, nothing touching, and no spaces. And that's the way it will light up for me, just like Sean did it right there, saying Hail's Hierarch. That's how you want to do it. We also have the Foundation for whitewellbeing.org. The Foundation for whitewellbeing.org, 501c3, the only institution, the premier institution, I should say, because there are others that fall flat on their faces. We have the white man's ADL. It is the Foundation for whitewellbeing.org. Check it out. Become a supporter, and you're supporting this work here, and you're supporting White Wellbeing Radio, and you're supporting so many marvelous things in service to white well-being that are working for our people. Pappy, the Wanderer, is here. Potter is here. Good to see you both. Thank you. Thank you. Julian is here. Great to see you. Nameless one as well. Make sure you share that we are live and alive on the Wednesday Church of the West roll in, where we come in the middle of the week like a freaking storm, and we rejuvenate and we keep the week powerful so that we continue to swash as the swashbucklers we are. We continue to promulgate the lexical and dialectical armory of Go Free so that we can recapture our destiny. You can head on over to nowhiteguilt.org. You'll find links to everything I mentioned and so much more. Video games, you'll find links to our very own Chat GPT, the Go Free Chat GPT. You'll find so many things that are marvelous and empowering. You don't want to miss any of that. NoWhiteGuiltCollectibles.com, another address you can head on over to. Hails, Jason, says Ancestral. Well, great to see you. What a cool-ass name that is. Big salutes. Making sure we share, and if I see here that you share on X, I will prop your name up on the screen, and you can get the cred of this swashing by sharing the stream. Why don't we get this started, ladies and gentlemen? Trump considering major expansion of the refugee program for white South Africans. I will note that this garbage platform, New York Post, not capitalizing the word white, we should reach out to them and let them know how absolutely despicable and how immoral and unethical it is to capitalize the titles for other groups of mankind, but refuse to do so when it comes to the white. We're white, just like the rest of that screen, I guess, is white. We are white people, just like my shirt is white. We are white people like white cars are white. There's just no difference. There's no people group there, and that's one of the reasons why, of course, we use the title white for our people as a secondary, because it's accepted the world over for a particular group of people, European, white European and European descended peoples. But we instead desire and use ourselves, the use of Western kind, the concepts of Western kind, the title of Western kind, the title of Westman. And Westman is like human, so you don't have West girls or West women or something like that. Westman is like human. It's all of us, male and female and child. And collectively, we are Western kind. Just to clear that up again, sometimes we get some confusion when it comes to the concepts. But we have to be strict about the concepts. And there's no shame there about being strict about the concepts that liberate our people, that empower us where we are. And as a consequence of the work that we are doing, we're seeing a concern with our people, with us in South Africa. And I think you should go ahead and expand this concern for our people to Rhodesia, now, of course, called Zimbabwe. Washington, April 23rd, President Donald Trump administration is considering more than doubling the annual refugee limit to bring more white South Africans into the U.S., according to 3 people familiar with the matter. Now, I got to ask you, is Bush Republicanism, is Mitt Romney Republicanism, or any of these other Republicans going to care at all? They never have before. And so when you undermine like the sickly little taboo grifters, and we talked about them a little bit with Joseph Cotto. Absolutely. If you've seen me on Joseph Cotto before, this particular interview was like nothing else. You can ask Biospirit of the West. He was watching. It was like nothing else that you've seen It was energetic. We were fired up. There were a couple jokes in there. We had a great time. It was penetrating. We got down into the weeds of some of this stuff and talked about things like the apocryphal nature of the ideology of anti-non-whiteism that is, of course, paid for, funded, protected, endorsed by anti-whites like the SPLC, among others, one of the premier institutions of anti-whiteism on planet Earth, and worth nearly $1 billion. So you want to know where the money comes from? I've been telling you all along, and maybe you didn't believe me. Maybe you said it can't be. He just must be working for the Jews when he says that these other groups, these anti-white groups, are funding the anti-non-white garbage. No, I was right. I was right all along, and a great vindication that is. No other administration. So do not undermine the Trump administration. We don't like Trump when he does something that's anti-white. We don't like when he says something that's anti-white. We love him when he does something that's white positive like this, and we let him know. We don't develop an animus for him. If you put your hatred of Jewish people ahead of your love for white people, then you are not white positive. You're not one of us. And so look at this now. Trump, a Republican, paused refugee administration from around the world when he took office in 25. Weeks later, he issued an executive order. An executive order. This is Trump and the Trump administration, prioritizing the resettlement of European descendant, Afrikaner, so white people, Western kind, saying they faced race-based persecution and they face white erasure in the majority black South Africa. The anti-white, that's the problem in South Africa, is not that those people are black. The problem is that they're all anti-white. There are Jew anti-whites. There are white anti-whites. There are black anti-whites. There are Chinese anti-whites. There are Asian Indian anti-whites in South Africa. Our country that we developed, that we created, that now they have stolen from us, and they are prosecuting us under the name of anti-whiteism and the morality of anti-whiteism. Make sure you're sharing. Make sure you're sharing so we get this to as many people as possible. People want to know. People want to see these gatherings. They've got to be told, because if they're not told, the algorithm is going to steer them away. The algorithm is not going to talk about us. The algorithm is going to drop their subscription immediately. And it doesn't matter that I write it everywhere that, hey, if you're a new subscriber, you got to follow me on like Telegram, on all of these other platforms, but in particular Telegram if you have an account, because you're not going to see me again, especially if you're a new subscriber. Happens all the time. Great victory here. Got a couple of great victories that we're talking about today. Very exciting times. South Africa's government vehemently denies the claims. Of course, they not only they deny them, but they celebrate what they're doing. They absolutely celebrate that this is the right thing to do. The social morality of the West, which includes the former Western, less and less Western because white erased South Africa and Rhodesia, is anti-white, immoral imperative, which says it's moral to victimize white people. The program expanded to provide safe haven to persecuted people around the globe. Trump has used it almost exclusively to bring South Africans into the U.S., part of the broader upending of norms around humanitarian protection. Around, I hate when people do, I'm so low IQ. Around the human, I mean, are we just going around it? We're not, it just makes no sense. It's poor English. And it undermines thought. So here, of course, the New York Post is crafting this as not something to arrest or combat anti-whiteism, but it's just a humanitarian thing. We're not gonna talk about. If it were Jews, they'd be talking about it being Jews. If it were blacks, they'd be talking about being blacks. So you get this sort of dissimulation, this dissembling when it comes to our victimization, specifically because of the anti-white and moral imperative, which we defeat with the Go Free dialogic. Never forget it. Share it with all your friends. In recent weeks, U.S. officials have discussed expanding the 7,500 person refugee cap to 10,000 to allow more South Afrikaners and of Afrikaner ethnicity, so white people, Western kind Westmen, to obtain refugee status, said people familiar with the internal planning. Now, the reality is, if you have a typical Mitt Romney, Bush, Cheney type of Republicanism, not only are they not going to allow South Africa, there's been like a prohibition. It's been, if you've been aware at all, as I have now for decades, they have done everything they can to prevent white people from fleeing South Africa and coming to the United States. That would be the case with the Mitt Romney Republican Party, with the President Bush Republican Party, with Dick Cheney Republican Party. They would still be preventing them from coming in the United States as they were while they were in office. What would the Democrats do? They would go even further than that. And that's what so many of these taboo grifters, they actually want. We're going to be talking about one of these taboo grifters, which obviously now has been proven a Fed. We're going to be talking about this little exiguous, bovarist bitch that has been proven a Fed once and for all. We already had ample evidence that this little bitch, this little bovaristic bitch is a Fed. Now we have more evidence that he is. And of course, we're talking about Bubble Boy Fuentes, the exiguous bovarist bitch that he is. We'll be talking about that in just a minute. But he would like you and so many of these other anti-white garbage, Stu Peters and the like, they would like you to now oppose the Trump administration specifically, and Trump himself specifically, because that's their angle now, to create a conversation for the purpose of bringing themselves attention and dollars and aggrandizement. That's what it's all about. Never forget it. These people are shysters. They are, by the purest definition of the word, they are shysters, and they are harming Western kind and harming Western countries for the benefit of their selfishly individualistic, muscleless, loser, former wigger, white rapper asses. That's what it's all about for these losers. Here we have Donald Trump speaking about our victimization, and you see him struggle. We went over it on Sunday. We went over the struggling of talking about it. Why was there struggle for talking about it? Well, the struggle for talking about it, or Wednesday, struggle for talking about it, because of this anti-white and moral imperative. It's time that we talk about this. It's time for content creators out there who care about, or they claim to care about, the West. They claim to care about America, UK, Canada, etc. They claim to care about these things, but they're not talking about the only community that has been achieving success. It's time for them to start talking about us. It's time for them to start their effete academics. It's time for them to start talking about, hey, the Jason Kuna guy, he might be totally robust and muscular and totally epic at sports and in bed, and he talks about those things, and boys, look at him. He's speaking the truth. I'm afraid that's all there is to it. He's speaking the truth. But he's right. He happened to be right that the social morality is a thing, and it's defeated everything else in the West. That social morality is the psychological warfare that is anti-whiteism. And not only that, but the Jason guy and that magnificent community, they have tools that defeat it, and they show it week by week by week with the receipts. People's with testimonials. White House referred questions to the U.S. State Department. The State Department spokesman did not confirm or deny the discussion around expanding, just did not deny or confirm the discussion about expanding the refuge around. Get some people that know proper English to write at the New York Post, will you? If the president decides to raise the FY 2026 refugee admission cap, he will do so at the appropriate time. And any numbers discussed at this point, my guess is, of course, that it will happen after the midterms. If he's going to do it, it'll happen after the midterms. And why? Because of the social morality of the West. The Democrats will hammer him over there. He only cares about white people because he's a white supremacist. And that's what we have to defeat. That's what we are defeating. So let's give it up, 07s, to Donald Trump and the Trump administration. Expand this, bring more attention to what's happening to us in South Africa. We are a single people, many countries, and many more ethnicities. We need to accept this reality. And the moment we do, on any significant scale, even a tiny scale across the West, our destiny is ours. Our victimization ends. Take that to the bank. Here is the exiguous, bovaristic bitch himself, who has clearly once again demonstrated that he is a Fed. Why is that? Well, a woman, I think her name was Marla Rose, an old woman, a grandmother, decided to harass him because she's an anti-white pig, and he's always talking about Jews. She also happens to be a Jew, I understand. And she decided to show up at his house, ring his doorbell, and she had her camera going because she was obviously going to ask him a couple of questions on camera. Well, he decided to open the door, and while she was saying hi, maced her, sprayed mace right in her face. She was no threat to him whatsoever. No threat whatsoever. This mildly obese, heavy, old Jewish grandmother, Marla Rose, I think her name is, no threat to him whatsoever, says hi when he answers the door. He sprays mace in her face and then shoves her backwards down steps on concrete. And the charges are dropped. The charges are dropped because this little motherfucker that's written up in all of these major organs so that everybody knows that he's the real leader of the defense, which of course is your telltale that he is not, that he's leading you to perdition, that he's leading you to ineffective and self-destructive strategies, argumentation, and etc. And so they have to move in there. So it doesn't matter what it is, Time Magazine, Rolling Stone, Spectator, all of these establishment organizations, many of which have been said over the years, argued that they are under the control of CIA. They're all telling you he is the leader of the resistance. The system would never tell you anyone's name, any organization, unless it was so widespread, and I mean far more widespread than this, far more widespread than anything he has achieved, and it would be all harmful. Every single bit of it. It would all be baseless allegations. You don't see any of that when it comes to this bubble boy friend test. No baseless allegations. Just that he hates Jews. And they've even said in some of these articles that he was right about this and he was right about that. The system would never do that. Would never lead you to somebody that could be beneficial in any way, shape, or form in contradiction to the system. It should be obvious. And here you have evidence yet again. Let's listen to what the little bitch has to say.
Groy Pet Rumor sent $30. Since you've leaned out so much, you should get arrested.
And by the way, this is a part of his stream where his shows that he does, where all of these basement dwelling losers that are, like I showed you this other guy, one of his basement dwelling loser followers, incel revolution soon, Groyper, is being investigated by the FBI, got arrested. He's probably going to have charges against him for his comments online. Took a picture of himself with a firearm. Didn't say he was going to go get anybody, but took a picture of himself with all of this other verbiage. FBI showed up, and he was a prick, like you might imagine these little people are, these losers in their this fungus among us in their basements. And now he's probably going to be charged. And this little bubble boy isn't going to give a shit. It doesn't affect him. As long as he's saying that which empowers him and brings him light and slime light and whatever it is, that's fine. So this is a part of the stream where these losers are donating their money to him. They're nothing of money that they have to this millionaire. He's a millionaire. He should be rejecting every one of their donations. Every single donation. If I were a millionaire, I would only allow you to give $1 at a time, just so you could say, I want to put some money toward what's going on. I want to put some money to this effort. This guy's a millionaire, and he'll happily take $30 from somebody who makes $22,000. And he'll take that $30 donation 4 times a week or more from such a person. He'll charge over $100 to have access to him in the private group. He'll charge $1,000 to sit beside him at a dinner, and he's a millionaire. He is a millionaire. He owns properties in Chicago, properties in Florida, potentially properties in California, as a consequence of all of these people giving him money. Not only that, but of course we know now that hidden agendas, hidden groups behind the scenes, they don't need to do like the SPLC was doing and have a shell company that sends money to a shell company that sends the gift cards to the leaders and to the tunes of millions over the years. They don't have to do that anymore. They can show up in thousands of accounts giving $10, $20, etc., especially when it's by way of crypto. So that's how they are financing the anti-non-white sentiment that is destructive to the cause of white well-being. So it's during this segment that he decides to share that the charges are dropped. And just listen to what this little bitch has to say. Just listen. Let me remind you, Marla Rose is some old Jewish grandmother who is slightly obese, and she's showing up at his door. So just remember that, with waving at hi, and she's got her phone out, hi, and listen to how he talks about her.
Again, so you can get a new mugshot.
Yeah, maybe I should. Case dismissed, bitch. Case dismissed, bitch. Yeah, what do you think about that? Oh, man. Yeah, you see that? You see the latest? I got to post something about that. Yeah, I won. Can I make this? How do I make this bigger? Pause. How do I make this? This always gives me trouble. I'm like a baby when it comes to clothes and stuff like that.
He's like a baby when it comes to everything, especially because he's about the size of a baby.
Yes. Do I do it like this? Yes. Okay.
This is their genius. Doesn't know how to change that. Having trouble changing the size of a baseball cap.
Yeah. Case dismissed. You thought. They thought they had me. Yeah, maybe it's time for a new mugshot. Maybe I got to beat the shit out of somebody else.
Maybe I've got to beat the shit out of somebody else. I just told you about the woman that he beat the shit out of.
Maybe I got to beat the fuck out of somebody else so I could get a new mugshot. It's time. Honestly, it's been too long. It's been too long since.
What a badass. What a badass for him to open a door and without any exchange of words, except for this old woman saying hi, he has mace already in his hand, sprays her with mace in the face, and then shoves her backwards as she immediately grabs her face for the burn and the searing and everything, shoves her backwards down concrete set. It's got to beat the shit out of somebody else like that.
It's like kick.
What does that tell you about the character of such a person? If I had ever beaten up a grandmother, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. But I mean, come on. If you had beaten up a grandmother, would you ever tell anyone, much less make it a brag?
Kick somebody's ass. So it might be time. What did we think? What do we think about the new hat?
Don't care.
Get another
Jack
mug.
Looks ugly. Oh, okay. So here's the video. Here's Marla Rose. So you can see exactly what I'm saying. Short, fat, old grandmother. She's ringing the door. Look at how high the doorbell is for her. She's practically doing a Roman salute to get to the doorbell because she's so little. And she has her phone out to videotape. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Here's the little old woman.
Hi. Oh, good.
Look at this. She's saying hi. All you can see is his hand immediately. Comes out the door with mace, spraying her with it. That is assault. That right there. You cannot just randomly, you can't have somebody knock on your door and then open your door and mace them. I would go straight to jail. You would go straight to jail. But somebody who's protected by the feds, they don't go straight to jail. The charges get dropped so they can continue doing what they're doing without the record that is warranted for this crime. So right there, that's assault. She poses no threat whatsoever. It doesn't matter. You can't claim that, well, other people have scared me. And so when I saw this tiny old woman, I decided I just had to open the door and assault her.
Oh my God, what are you doing?
Look.
Get the fuck out of here.
Then he steals her phone. This is a sick, demented little turd. Real tough. Real fucking tough. You know, I'm surprised that some Jews that, if you have been in the military, you have been in the gym, you'll know that not all Jews are little weaklings. And I'm surprised that a Jew that's a bit tougher hasn't decided to avenge himself on this little bitch. Once again, one more time so you can see what he beat, the charges he magically beat. Now, I want you to think about you doing this to somebody coming to your door.
Hi. Oh my God, what are you doing?
Get the fuck out of here.
Sickening. What an absolute disgrace. No one should follow on the basis alone. Beating up an old woman. No one of any character, no one of any value would ever follow somebody like that. You're not getting back at the Jews by macing some old Jewish woman and throwing her backwards down steps on concrete. Fed, 100% fucking fed. 100% protected by the feds. 100%. End of conversation. Now, we just had the indictment on the strategy of anti-non-white behavior and advocacy. We just had the indictment on that strategy. So it's done. Anti-whites pay for that strategy. Anti-whites protect the folks that they prop up for you to be the leaders of the resistance. No one should follow this guy ever. You know what? And this spectacle here of him saying down here, yeah, beat that charge, bitch. Maybe I need to beat the F out of somebody else. Reminded me forcibly, with Fuentes saying that, reminded me forcibly of this meme right here. This is a chickadee. They're about that big. A message to my enemies, says Fuentes the chickadee. I killed the mouse. Don't come with me. Maybe I need to beat the out of another mouse. What an absolute disgrace. And the strategy that he leads, this anti-Jew strategy, I've been telling you all forever, is a multiracial anti-Jew endeavor. And the internet has expedited the speed at which it comes increasingly into form. It is formalized increasingly. So much so that the movement that this guy is said to be the leader of, the multiracial anti-Jew movement, is having a conference on Saturday. America First United. I didn't even hear about these losers. The only thing that unites them is the hatred of Jews. They are Muslim, they're black, they're white, they're Hispanic, they're Democrats, they're Republicans. Casey Putsch is going, what the fuck is wrong with him? He had access. We were swashing on him, telling him that he's a fucking grease monkey. Get back under the hood of your car. That's all you are. He's a dumb grease monkey. And he's thrown in with this lot here. So on Saturday, they're going to be meeting in Columbus, Ohio. Did you even know about this? I didn't. This Amy Dangerfield is the central figure of it. So you can go ahead and conclude that behind her are, she's a lousy content creator, absolutely lousy. That behind her are the agendas that want to finance, endorse, and support and coordinate multiracial anti-Jew spurgery. And so you got this guy, he's a speaker. This Michael Rechtenwald, he is a former New York University professor. Then, of course, you have this barely literate moron, Jake Shields. But would you like to see the whole list? Would you like to see all the speakers that'll be speaking? Let's see how multiracial the anti-Jew sentiment really is. Well, unfortunately, Joni is going to be there. There's Casey Putsch, who's just a grease monkey now. He's proven to me, I would tentatively high hopes for him, cautious high hopes. He's decided to move away, to not decide to embrace the go free dialogic, what works, what obviously it should occur to him. This works. It should occur to him. It makes perfect sense, but it doesn't occur to him because he's not more than just a wrench twister. And I'll tell you, my experience in the real world has been that the majority of highly educated people have the mid-wit IQ to maybe slightly under a mid-wit IQ. And a great percentage of blue-collar working people have mid-wit IQ to slightly above mid-wit IQ. But that's not the case with Casey Putsch. Not the case at all. He is not one of the blue-collar people that I've come into contact with over the years as co-workers and etc. that are slightly above average IQ. Then you got this guy. I won't even force your eyes to suffer. This guy has tits. He walks around. And so many of these people are running for office in whatever districts they're in. So this is a giant collection of the losers of the upcoming elections. That's what this is. This guy walks around in his adverts and the commercials and videos with his button-up shirt untucked and his boobies, his fluffy nipples. Then you got this one, Joe Webbin is there. Then you got this guy wearing some sort of a cross between a Nazi hat that he put a rabbit on, neon white rabbit. So you know that's going to be good. Then you got this woman who doesn't look white to me. Sam, of course, is going to be there. He is a ardent supporter of Fuentes. This guy, another loser in the upcoming election. Another Evan Kilgore, another loser. Morgan Ariel, total slut, non-white slut. She's going to be there. Mark Morin, another guy that's going to lose. And look at these. You got Jose Verga, a black Hispanic. You got Bernard Taylor, a black guy. Look at this list. Another black guy, Muslim, Hispanic, black guy, Hispanic black guy. There's more to the list. I think they've added a few more, a couple more non-whites as well. So they brag about that the only thing that they are across all of these parties, and you can see here, here's where they're like, AIPAC is financing these. No shit. They've got these great wish lists of what they want to accomplish, which means nothing will be done. Really, what a joke. What an absolute joke this is. This is the apotheosis of the multiracial anti-Jew movement. This is not a movement. The America First, in the vein of Bubble Boy Fuentes and all of these others, is not a white positive movement. It doesn't concern itself with white people. It holds hands with Muslims and Hispanics and blacks, and as long as they're anti-Jew. They only ever talk about white people when it will build their audience. When the taboo of defending white people and complaining about our victimization, they poke for the purpose of increasing their audience size, their aggrandizement, the money that they make. That's the only time they ever talk about it. Never forget it. And these are the people united in their hatred of Jews. And that's it. Not in their love for white people, united in their hatred of Jews, including Casey Putsch now, regrettably. What a joke. What an absolute waste. Who are nothing but losers, care nothing about the white race, Western kind, our countries, and are actively endeavoring to undermine the Trump administration with every single thing they say. Luxury cars, ladies and gentlemen, luxury cars. Do you know what the welfare queens are driving these days? Well, according to the Trump administration, some driving things like that you could never even pay for the tire of. Mestizo Kov is with us. Good to see you. In Mexico, Central America, Verga is slang for the male body part. Ah, well, that makes a lot of sense. Real class act. Thank you for letting me know. Hyperborean Dream is here. Goblin is here. Make sure you share and repost the stream. Cattown is here on all of your social media, or we don't stand a chance of being heard. Terra Firma asking, why do we have Jews saying that Europe will not be the monolithic countries? Because those particular Jews are anti-white. More importantly, though, to the question is, if you focus on Jews, if you center them in your thinking, you can never create a people out of Western kind, out of our deracinated race. We will never become a Western kind out of the deracinated race by talking about Jews endlessly, by saying that Jews need to be divested, by saying that Jews need to be thrown out, by complaining about Jews now and in the future and in the past and etc. That does not create a people out of our deracinated race. It never has. It never will. How much evidence do you need? So the reason why you think you're coming in with this reductive, why are there Jews that are, well, why are there Jews that are, because those are anti-white Jews. But what matters to white positive people is that they're anti-white, not that they were born Jewish. I couldn't care less what pair of legs they passed between when they came into the world. All that I care about is my people. And if their behavior, an individual's behavior, is anti-white, if their statements are anti-white. Why? Because I am a normal functioning man of the West. I don't shadow haunt Jewish people as their shadow, and they have a people and they come together and they work together for their own good. And I walk around behind them complaining about them doing that. Grow up. You have an opportunity. If you're in the audience right now, grow up. And there are others in this community that have become absolute champions by giving up the stupidity of Jew spurgery and instead embracing their heart for our people and love for our people. Every scenario that these people talk about when it comes to the Jews doing this, the Jews doing that, should be talked about. The harm being done to us, how we are victimized by these things, and by way of that, we are able to come together as a people to arrest that victimization. I can't explain that any more simply. So I sincerely hope that you're able to get it and understand that we've got people that come in to the live chat and they think they understand the world because they were told by taboo grifters and idiots and losers. And by the way, that's the SPLC is funding that strategy. So don't forget that. Anti-whites fund this strategy of complaining about Jews. They finance it. So don't forget about that. So every time you pop off in my chat, and not this particular person, but every time you pop off in my chat with a, what about the Jews? Just know if the ADL or some other anti-white isn't paying you for that, you're just being chumped. You might as well get in on the money that they're handing out to say that's stupidity. Doesn't work. So, welfare queens. Ronald Reagan talked to us. Very few things that Ronald Reagan actually did were any good for Western kind, regrettably. He's held in this great repute, but very few things that he did was actually good for us. I mean, we got MLK Day, Anti-White Day. We got the first amnesty, and as long as the border, nothing was done to protect the border, became more porous than ever. So highest tax increases. Remember, it was all about we're not going to increasing taxes, and then Bush decided to increase them even more after he said, "Read my lips, no new tax." He had to say that because of all the tax increases under Reagan. So Reagan talked about welfare queens, and that is a real phenomenon. We have these people who are on our welfare system, and the welfare systems have proliferated to the point you can see with the Somalis, many of the claims, at least, that they lived cradle to grave on our dime, paid for nothing. Every single thing you can imagine, paid for, everything paid for. So here you have a news item about the kind of vehicles. We've talked about this before. I remember 10 years ago, a white woman who was obviously had been anti-white, maybe she remained anti-white after the fact, I don't know, worked in one of these welfare offices, and she was cutting checks to these welfare queens, waddling in with gold, bedizeled and bedecked, the bedizenment all over them, bedecked with all of the cologne and the perfumes and the fake this and the fake that, clothes more expensive than you could ever wear. And they're rolling up in brand new Escalades. They're rolling up in top of the line Cadillacs. And this woman decided to speak out. She's like, what's going on? I work for a living. These people are having all of their food paid for, having their rent paid for, having everything. And they're rolling up looking like this and driving vehicles like this. What's going on? Fired as a result of it. So the Trump administration decided to come out. Here we have it. Thousands of food stamp recipients, and this is just so far identified, have been cruising to the grocery store in Maseratis, Lamborghinis, Porsches, and other extravagant cars, according to new data. Now, yes, there are going to be some anti-white blacks who were on the dole, and then they decided, hey, I'm going to start a company. I mean, we saw that woman who's in politics down there in Georgia. Her name is slipping me right now. She had nothing. She was a welfare queen, living on the welfare, then decided she was going to start a company. And like she's now being investigated. There are like 10 shell companies, and the government's giving her money. In other words, our money, stealing from us, giving to her, enriching her out the wazoo. She's going on vacations. I think she actually bought a Lamborghini or a Maserati. You know that she's still using the access to the food stamps and everything else that she can get. Why would she give that up? But I submit to you that we got a whole new group. We got people who are brighter. We got people from Asian Indians and people coming from Central South America that are bright, and they can see the writing on the wall. Hey, I can get business loans that will be forgiven. I can get business grants. I can get self-improvement loans. I can get all these different things. I can start businesses, and I could have the taxpayer pay for my food, pay for my vacations, pay for my childcare, and they're making use of all of it. Why wouldn't they? High trust society, we police ourselves. You know, the reality is there would not need to be a law against murder if it weren't for, in an all-white society, if it weren't for the few ne'er-do-wells in our midst. We wouldn't have to have it because none of us would commit murder. It's just our norm not to murder. So we wouldn't have to have a law in place. But in these other lands, you go to the Middle East, and they need to be vicious as shit. They need to cut your hands off. They need to blind you and everything to deter people from doing what naturally they want to do, apparently. So you have this high trust society of these white boobs wandering around, wouldn't commit murder, even if there wasn't a law against murder, save for the tiny percentage of the malefactors in our race that we're happy to execute. Wouldn't even have that. And they come into this environment and they're like, these people, I can live off everything of them. And I told you growing up in Northern Virginia, what I saw in all of my different peer groups, all of my different friend groups, it was very multiracial. And from all of these non-white groups, I heard again and again what they were going to get for themselves out of America, what they were going to get for themselves and their people out of our people. I heard it again and again directly from their mouths. And so we see that on the macro scale. We see they're getting it. So they're driving Maseratis, Lamborghinis, Porsches, and other extravagant cars to go pick up their groceries with food stamps, with SNAP. Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins, who hasn't identified the state, that this is just one state. They just started counting and investigating in one state, said scrutiny of the Supplemental Nutrition Assisted Program, SNAP, known as SNAP, has uncovered thousands of people so far receiving benefits in a single state who are also driving Bentleys and Teslas. Now, I could tell you right now, that's going to be rare among the black population. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But it's going to be rare compared to Asian Indian and Arabic populations. And this is my opinion. You'll have to look at to the data yourself. I mean, I could have given my opinion about who was really pilfering the system in Minnesota. Now we have the evidence. I would have been right if I would have shared, well, it's these Somalis that are largely behind it. And now we have the evidence. Well, we're digging out the evidence here. And I believe that when they finally produce all of the evidence of who these people are, because under the Trump administration, there's a chance of that happening, we'll end up seeing that indeed you have smart Arabs, smart Indians, smart Latinos, Central South Americans that are coming up here and they're saying, wow, this is, and of course, this number includes, they're not even investigating, this is a Republican state, they're not investigating Minnesota here. That includes the Somalis, who, for all of the claims about how dumb they are, and you know, beans and bananas or whatever, what was it again that they eat all the time? For all the claims of how dumb they are, they're driving around the cars that are nicer than you. We have Stephen Miller and getting their food paid for, and getting the child care paid for. My opinion, check it out, see if I'm wrong. Check out the data to see if I'm wrong. You had Stephen Miller the other day talking about how Americans are sick and tired of getting these new neighbors from other parts of the world who are dressed to the nines and they have the nicest cars. They don't necessarily take care of their property, but they always seem at ease. They never seem stressed out. They're not like us. They don't pull up and sit in their car for 20 minutes before they can even get out to go in the house because of how wrecked they are from having to work their ass off and then always having to fight off being grumpy. Now, these people are always like, hey, it's America's great. I bet it is. I bet it is for you. And I've told you all about the DC metro area and how everywhere you turn, when you're out on the highway, you see non-white people with 60, $90,000, $150,000 cars, $200,000 cars. Now, good for them. If they brought that much value to the world, great. But if they brought that much value to the world, then why weren't they doing it in their countries? Why weren't their countries these epic environments of achievement and safety and value? And they're not. So how is it that they come to our country from, as President Trump put it, shitholes, and suddenly I'm sitting beside some guy? I can tell you right now about a conversation I just had the other day, but I'm sitting beside some guy just to continue the conversation, sitting beside some guy with, I'm not kidding, the guy I'm sitting beside in a Bentley had a forehead that was at 45 degrees. There is no way. There is absolutely no way. This guy doesn't know his times tables, the twos, much less bring enough value to drive a Bentley. Give me a break. That's what happens when you're able to pilfer a system. I was walking in to a business I had to go into, and I saw a brand new Corvette. I would give blood. I would give blood. I would give lots of blood. I would give whatever I could almost to get the brand new Corvette. It is a beast. It is a beautiful machine. It sounds magnificent. It looks a lot like a Ferrari. So many of the latest year models have, copying the Ferrari design. I love it. American muscle car. Magnificent machine. Brand new. Brand new. And I stopped. I'm walking and I stopped right on my track. The fact that it's so stupendously impractical makes it so alluring. There's nothing you could do with this car. You can't even go grocery shopping with that car unless you just got one or two things to get. Totally impractical. No trips with this thing. It's just for its beauty. It's the machinery, the white man's genius, on and on. If you appreciate cars, you know what I'm talking about. I stopped and I was like, wow. Then I noticed that it wasn't running, but the lights were on. So I thought somebody's coming to it or whatever. But no, the guy was getting out. Morbidly obese, just barely able to fit in it. Black guy. All right, great. Maybe he's, right side of the bell curve, and maybe he's this great producer. And I said, this is a magnificent machine. He could barely speak. And I don't mean barely speak English because he was a foreigner. I mean, he is born and reared in the United States, and his English was like a sixth grader's. He had no knowledge about the car. He knew nothing about it. How did this guy get into a position to afford that machine? I mean, it's 5 times the price, 6 times the price of my car. How? We are sick and tired of this. We are sick, and I'm paying. You are paying for these people in so many ways. I would be willing to bet everything that he has business grants, business loans forgiven on us, and so much more that we pay for so that he can start up these businesses that run primarily on what? Not customers, government contracts, robbing from us. That's how they have all this money. And I thought it was as bad as it could get until I visited Atlanta, Georgia. And I was in that part of Atlanta where it's like the black mecca of wealth. I could not believe it. I could absolutely not believe it. The kind of wealth they have off of government contract, producing no value. It'd be one thing if they were producing value for people and they earned that. No value whatsoever. Couldn't believe it. I mean, I shit you not. I was at a mall there, and there was a woman got out of, and I got to try to remember even what it was. I think it was a Bentley SUV. Unbelievable money. She got out of it, friends. Her skull was about that big. Her skull was about that big. Her ass was And this was before OnlyFans and all of this. So you can't even say that, well, maybe she's some kind of I don't know who would be tuning in for that, for the love of God, unless you needed to vomit because you just drank some poison. But nothing at all. And I heard her talking to the valet, and she barely intelligible. Again, born and reared in the United States, zero intelligence whatsoever. He drives the car. I had to wait out there because I was waiting for my ride. He came back, and he was a black guy, and he was all into her. He's like, yeah, man, isn't she something? And I was like, yeah, she's something, all right. Probably not for the same reason that you think. But yeah, she's something, all right. But this is what we have. So, research at the Foundation, food stamps, anonymous state whether recipients required to examine the other programs, integrity data. None of these things are examined because it was functioning, or to any significant degree, because it was functioning on a high trust society. So another SNAP recipient identified as Celebrity Barber drove a Lamborghini Huracan and a, what is this, LP 580-2 Spider, valued at $220,000. There's a professional football player collecting SNAP. And this is an example of how they were collecting SNAP before they were multimillionaires, and they're just going to keep doing it. He owned a 2022 BMW M760i valued at $158,000. The eye-popping inventory of cars on just this first 1,000 of the investigation of SNAP beneficiaries had 3 Bentleys, 3,636 Lexuses, 1,914 BMWs, 1,131 Cadillacs, 3 Ferraris, 11 Lamborghinis. I'm 59 Mercedes, 141 Porsches, 59 Jaguars, 244 Alfa Romeos, 306 Land Rovers, 3,000 Teslas. One of the Lamborghinis costs more than $680,000. Are you mad yet? And one of the Ferraris was just over $600,000. If you're not mad, something's wrong with you. But before getting too mad, we're going to get into our segment of the day. We've got a brand new segment we are going to be looking at. And this segment, then we're going to get into our quick news and laughs and our main news items today. Your car is now your social media. The bill passed. It's just waiting for Trump's signature, regrettably. And so by 2027, all cars produced, it'll be required by law. There's a reason they made it law. Required by law to be able to spy on you, and not just in the little bit of ways that you might think, but they'll be spying on you in every imaginable way, recording your face, recording everything you say. And if the sound is such that it can't quite make out the sound, they even have the technology to read your lips while you're talking in your car. What do you think the outcomes for that are going to be? But let's get into our new segment. The segment today is Prank or Staged. Segment today is Prank or Staged. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? We are going to be looking at a series of videos here where people are being terrified by teddy bears or dolls moving around them as though they've suddenly become possessed by a ghost. And so what we're going to be determining here is prank or staged. Was the person who gets scared pranked by the other person, or were both people in on it and it's staged for the purpose of clickbait? So you can put a P or an S, or you can write prank or staged when you watch. And then I'll tell you if you're right or not. That's how the game works, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for our new segment of the day. Prank or staged. Prank or staged. You have a young man and woman here on a bed, and there is a teddy bear off to his left, your right. As you can see, let me shrink myself so you will have a better... There you go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready? Prank or staged? Lucky Lunda Thunder in the house. Full Null is here. Let's see. Is this one prank or staged?
Comedy, actually. Hey.
What?
Did you see that?
See what?
You gotta be kidding.
Nah, dude. Nothing's moving. Nothing's moving.
All right. Prank or staged? Get your votes in, ladies and gentlemen. Prank or staged? Now, remember to tag me as No White Guilt. You don't have to do it for this, but otherwise, tagging me at symbol No White Guilt, at symbol No White Guilt. Was that first scene prank? Was that young man pranked by the girlfriend? Or is it staged? Were they both in on it? What do we get? Joe says, great to see Joe. He says staged. Thunder said staged. Thunder Lunder Down Under said staged even before he saw it. Biospirit of the West says staged. Justin McDaniel says staged. Franklin is with us. He says pranked. Maybe it's pranked. Samuski says staged. Let's see. Kat says A. Okay. Staged. Ivan Zeabel is here. Staged, he says. Julian says staged. Roger says both. All right. Maverick is with us. Great to see you, Maverick. Maverick's vote today is staged. Kat now says staged. Staged. I meant to type an S. I typed an A by accident. The great Ford Noel in the house. Everything is staged, said Cool Papa J Magic. Chatter Stan is here. He says staged. Cindy Ben says staged. Well, if you said staged, you are right, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, a staged clip for clicks. Here we have another one. We'll see what you have. You see you have a man lying on the couch in a red T-shirt there, and there's a little baby doll down here, and it has a fishing wire attached to it so that the spouse could make it move. Get ready. Is this prank or staged? There goes the doll move.
Honey, the fucking doll is moving.
Prank or staged? Prank or staged? What are your votes on this one? Best friend of Jesus is with us. Good to see you. Says God bless. Well, God bless you as well. Fornol is in fast. Says staged. Ivan is in as well. Coming in at fast. Staged. Our people are like the horse Secretariat. They are faster than fast. Never seen anything like it. Secretariat, if you remember, the greatest racehorse of all times. Records never beaten. Fornol says, well, unless he's a nutcase. Maverick, stage. Nameless one getting in this time with a vote. Stage as well. Samuski says, no, he was pranked. Franklin says, staged. Let's see. A filthy, angry Irish peasant says, that's a cool name. He says, staged poorly. Let's see. Who else do we have? Ancestral Wolf also voting staged. Samuski saying, hold on now. Aren't all pranks staged? Well, they're staged. But in our definition for the segment for today, we've got this, the pranked, meaning that the victim didn't know, or the stage that the victim did know. That's the working definition for today. Bunda says, no individual reacts so fakely and gaily. Staged. I would say you are right if you said that this was staged. Prank or staged, ladies and gentlemen. Young man lying in a bed, and there's a baby doll on the bed. Isn't that curious? Baby doll is on the bed. He's looking at his cell phone. Is this a prank or is it staged?
Babe, it's happening again.
Oh, prank or stage, ladies and gentlemen. The little doll was waving at him. Babe, it's happening again. Babe, the doll is moving. How could it be happening again if it's pranked? How could it be? Loki says, he's so good at this game. Ivan says, staged. Sovereign says, stage. Ivan the Habable, staged, fake, and the gaze, he says. Well, Spirit of the West is in, saying, staged. Are any of these going to end up being pranked? We will see. Ladies and gentlemen, he punched. Wasn't that kind of ridiculous to punch the but I mean, I guess it's all kind of ridiculous. We're saying stage, and if you said stage, you are right, ladies and gentlemen. Stage yet again, stage. Let's have a look at this guy. He's chilling with his wife on the bed. He's just maxing and relaxing. Wonder why they're videotaping themselves. There's a Raggedy Ann doll on the back of the couch here. Is this pranked or staged? Did this guy not know this was going to happen? Or did he know it was going to happen? Let's watch.
Ah! I told you! Fuck!
Prank or staged? The Raggedy Ann doll shot off the couch. He screamed out loud. He screamed out loud that I told you. He jumped up and ran away like a little baby Bubble Boy Fuentes would get up and run away. What do we have here? Sovereign, staged. Wes says staged. Justin says staged. Well, the correct answer is A. Stage, says Samuski. Ayayay is with us today. He says, so far, this one is the most staged, what we just watched. The most staged. Fake, lame, and staged, says Franklin, Trumpy Bear. Fono coming in as well, adding his vote. Staged along with Julian. Staged. Why do guys act like this when it is obviously staged? Obviously staged. Why would anyone believe this? Why wouldn't you, if you were staging this for clips, why not at least make it look realistic? Like the fright or the shock was realistic and you were actually frightened by it. You were pranked. But no, everyone has been fake and Claudine Gay so far. But I want you to take a close look at this one. You don't get an opportunity to see this little hippo stuffed animal. It moves just slightly. It barely moves. I didn't stop it fast enough for you to see, but it barely moves beside this guy. And now we're going to watch his response, ladies and gentlemen. Is this video clip prank or staged?
It's moving! That thing's moving!
No, it's not.
Yes, it is!
Thomas, how is that moving?
It's not fucking moving!
I'm going to say, what's your vote, ladies and gentlemen? What is your vote? Is it prank or is it staged? Chad is Dan pointing out men acting like women. Yeah, the jumping up in the screen. All of these guys that have become, what is this modern thing that's going on with these guys that are like their wives' girlfriends? What is up with that? What is a way to put that? They act like a girlfriend to their wife. They act like a girlfriend to their daughters. That is pathetic. No male should act that way. What is wrong? Maybe it's the low testosterone. Be a man to your wife and be a father to your daughter. Do not be a girlfriend to your wife and your daughters. This is just disgusting. Prank or staged? The little hippo moved just slightly. The guy leaps up. The table flips under him, getting up as quickly as possible. Says it moved. The girlfriend said it didn't. He hits it with a pillow. Let's see what we have here. Fornola's saying it's a prank. Justin saying staged. Biospirit saying staged. Shadistan, Claudine Gay and staged. Lunder says, ooh, yes, this is a hard one. Yes, it is. Men acting like sissies, says Roger. It could be real. Lunder is coming back staged. Terra Firma says, people are bad actors. It's obvious. You can tell if someone means it. So very true. Samuski says he's going with stage from the guy that leapt up. Rapunzel says, look at filthy English Irish present insult to Nick. It's so funny. All right, let's find it. Any good insult of Bubble Boy? Let me see if I can find it this way. Yes, he says, filthy English Irish peasant says, staged like Nick Fuentes being heterosexual. He's currently on a date, a date traveling a romantic city with another man. So I don't know if that could tell you anything. If I was going to be traveling with a guy, I would try to make it a couple guys. And if I were going to be traveling with a guy, I would make sure that we have plenty of evidence of all the ladies that we were meeting and carousing with. Chattistan says, no wonder these white daughters don't respect their fathers and race mix. Well, true. When they're acting like their girlfriends, no wonder. All right. Well, this was a little bit of a tough one, but you are the winner if you said that the one that we just watched was a prank. Yes, indeed. That one was a prank, our first prank so far. And I think this might be our last one, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see. Here you have a young man sitting on a couch with his wife, and there are a bunch of baby dolls. First of all, that's kind of weird. If the woman you're with, they better be her baby dolls. But it's kind of weird if she's a grown woman and there aren't children there and there's a bunch of like baby dolls. Maybe time to run for the hills. And anyhow, he's sitting on the couch and he's eating, and she appears to be on her phone or something, doom scrolling and couch rotting. And there they are. And let's see, ladies and gentlemen, get prepared. Is this a prank or is this staged?
You coming?
All right. It wasn't the last one. We got one more after this. We'll do both of these together. Watch closely.
Hi, God.
Okay, the two that we just did, were those prank or staged? Were they pranked or was it staged? Franklin says Fornola's winning this game. He is. Ivan says prank. Let's see, what else do we have? Sovereign says staged. Chattistan says gay horses say hey, stage, stupid, silly music. Ivan says first was prank, second was staged. Well, if you said of the first one we just watched and the second one that they were staged, you are right, ladies and gentlemen. Staged, clearly staged, and pathetically staged at that. Both of them clearly staged, and the guy should immediately get himself, the one with the girlfriend with all of those baby dolls, get himself a new girl. Something's not right. He's going to wake up at night, and she's going to be holding one of those up to his throat with a little dagger, and she's going to be talking behind it about how he should be sycophantic and obsequious to her, or she'll the doll will kill him in the middle of the night. Final one. I think this actually is the final one. Now, this is like a big, good old boy. And there's this teddy bear on the chair beside him. And this teddy bear has moved just ever, like the arm barely moved. The arm barely moved. Let's take a look at this one. I think it's the last one. And for our segment, prank or stage? Will you get the last one right today, ladies and gentlemen? We'll see.
I told you it's moving. I'm telling you, the fucking thing is moving. I told you so. Baby.
This last one here, this actually is the last one. Two stage. We're not going to watch this. It's so fake. It's so ridiculous. But the one we just watched, was it prank or was it stage, ladies and gentlemen? When the guy leapt out of his easy chair, that's not a good sign. You know, the working man goes home, he climbs into the easy chair, doesn't want to climb out. What happened? The bear moved and he leapt up. Was that a prank or was that staged? Let's see what you all have to say. Ivan says prank. Ay says it was a prank. Lunda Thounder says staged. Dan says prank. Bios says prank. Samuski says prank. Fornall is coming in at a prank as well, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to go ahead and wrap it up with the great Franklinator and Julian both saying prank. It appears that you all are correct. It was a prank. Absolutely. Hell of a lot of fun that we had here. Let's get into our quick news and laughs, ladies and gentlemen. So much fun there to be
Okay,
had.
this is silly. Everyone is freaking out over this X post, considering everything from time travel to dimension hopping. So I figured I would clear something up for you guys as someone who has had extensive experience in the back end of many websites. Listen close. Times and dates are easily adjustable, or even like old abandoned pages and posts can be easily overwritten. And in this instance, you can actually see in the comments that literally no comment was made prior to the shooter's identity being reported. If someone had access to the back end of a social media company like X, for instance, and they wanted to share a post today that appeared as though it was shared 3 years ago, would they be able to do that? Please answer with one word, yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, please list for me concisely the ways in which they might be able to do that from the back end.
If someone had backend access, they could adjust the database directly, altering the post's timestamp. They might also manipulate internal logs or metadata. Additionally, they could modify system clocks or use admin-level tools that allow retroactive scheduling. Essentially, it's about modifying stored data to reflect a different creation time.
So what she's talking about here is you got a lot of conspiracy theorists are now taking these items about Cole Thomas Allen and saying there was some kind of posts that were back in the day. And she's pointing out with the help of ChatGPT that the timestamps and all can be manipulated if you have access to the back end on a website. Take a look at this. Dallas actually sent this of these cute little girls, and this is a blessing.
I accidentally, today while y'all were at school, I ate all of your Halloween candy.
What?
I ate all of the Halloween candy that you got last night.
Oh, that's okay because we'll trick-or-treating tomorrow.
Oh, listen to how cute. This is unbelievably cute. The mom's like, I accidentally ate all your Halloween. And the look at how, first of all, how freaking cute they are. And the little girl's voice, that's okay, Mom.
Oh, we can't though.
Halloween's over.
Halloween's over and I ate all of your candy.
Oh, that's okay. Remember we have more candy in the pantry now.
I ate all of that too.
Candy we got at school?
Yeah, I ate that too.
Oh, that's okay.
I am totally in love. The little girl, that's okay. You've eaten all of our candy. That's okay.
I forgive you.
Really?
We forgive you.
That's really nice of you guys.
Well, we can't go trick-or-treating again.
I know, and I feel really bad about that.
Why do you like a hug?
Also, I was just kidding. All of your candy's still there. I was just kidding, but y'all are so sweet.
You just joking.
I was just...
The little girl actually went over to give the mother a hug. Wow. One life. All right. Now this, I got to tell you, I have laughed for about 22 straight hours over this. I don't know if I'll be able to. I will still have to laugh, but I have laughed until tears were running out of my eyes and water running out of my nose. What you have here in this video is it says, the day a cockroach got into the room and this paraplegic cat learned to run. This woman is taking care of this cat and all of its needs because its legs don't work. Paraplegic cat. And what happened was a cockroach crawled up on top of the bed. And of course, she loses her mind screaming. And the cat, who is depending on her for everything, this is the woman providing everything, just decides it's going to bail. Somehow it's going to get religion and run out of the room. Just watch. You can see in this the video here how it runs with its broken, screwed up legs out of the room. Oh my God. Screwed up legs suddenly. It was over here on this white towel where she was like hand feeding and petting it, taking care of it. And as soon as there's any danger, it's like, fuck you, bitch. I'm gonna make these little screwed up legs work all of a sudden. Oh my God. Look at it drag them broken legs out of the room. Oh, that's the funniest shit I've seen in a long time. I was dying for hours over this. The cat, this is the loyalty I'm afraid of most cats. It's like everything I could possibly need. I'm going to get religion and I'm going to get lost. That whatever that is can finish your fat ass off. Oh my God, his legs are all gangly and broken and don't work. Oh man. Yeah, something's wrong with you if you don't find this immensely hilarious. Now, this is one of our great leaders, right? Eva Valdingerbrook. And I didn't know that she had an Instagram, but of course she does. And what a surprise here that the great leader of the white race is produces tons of videos just like this one. Look at how pretty look at how beautiful I am. Pat me on my head for my beauty. She is invited everywhere to talk about what's happening to our race. This is not a leader. This is a typical female seeking pats on the head. Any guy that would see something like, you are absolutely not meant to follow as a leader something that you would like to fuck. Sorry to be so blunt about it, but that's the reality. Something you have a desire to screw cannot be your leader. Just so despicable, such a sign of our time. No guy should follow her and take any advice from her. If we can swash on her to get her use the Go Free Dialogic, that would be awesome. Then she would be awesome. But this is what really is at the core of it. Tons of videos like this. Look at how pretty she is. Ridiculous. Now, I want to point out this horse here. This is a legendary win. You're going to watch here in just a moment. Rich Strike, one of the longest odds in history at a horse race. And you'll see how this poor horse starts off. My friends, this is the white positive community right here. This community right here. Let's be inspired.
In the Kentucky Derby. And Summer is tomorrow, had a great start and goes immediately to the early lead. On the far turn, it is Crown Pride battling with Messier. They're stride for stride. Epicenter and Zozo's in behind them. Cyberknife sweeps up to the outside. Sandon gets the rail run, and they're into the stretch. And it's Messier, Crown Pride, and Epicenter is coming up on the outside. Epicenter is taking the lead as they arrive into the final furlong. Sandon is coming after him.
Look at it, get it!
And Sandon, these two, stride for stride. Simplification down the outside is next. They're coming down to the wire. Epicenter's ended. Reach strike is coming up on the inside. Oh my goodness! The longest shot has won the Kentucky Derby.
That is us. That is so much us right there. That's the white positive community. That's the kind of heart and spirit you have to win the race. From the, not even the back, the way back. That horse had no chance. He was the longest shot possible. And he came back throughout the totality of this. They're not even saying his name until the very end. Never forget that. Not even saying his name until the very end when he wins it all. Totally epic. Hey, you leaving a relationship you knew you should have never gotten into. This is almost every single relationship that a guy has with a female. This is what he looks like afterward. Donald Trump being a real man. There you have it. You would never see a Mitt Romney do this. You would never see a Bush do this. Trump is patting that ass. He's saying, that's my meat right here. Regular guy. Oh, my goodness. Take a look at this. This is a prank that was played on this old man inside of a Walmart, I think.
Well, I don't know. That sounds so extreme. My God.
We got to start it over.
Stains out of a mattress.
Do you know how to get stains out of a mattress?
Blood stains?
I had a mishap with my girlfriend last night.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, no hot water. Cold water is for sure preferable. And a little soap and scrub on that. Well, you have to. Is it on the mattress or what?
Yeah, it's everywhere. All over the wall, mattress, the carpet.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to need a hazmat suit.
Well, you have a serious thing on your hands. I can't imagine such a thing as that. But it happens, I guess.
Do you know any good dump sites for a body around here?
No.
Okay. I was thinking maybe out in the woods.
Oh, well, what do you want to dump, did you say?
B-O-D-Y.
Really? Damn. You do have a problem.
I know it, man. Do you know if they sell cinder blocks here?
Not at this Walmart.
Okay.
No.
I was thinking maybe tying two to her legs and dropping her in a lake.
Well, I don't know. That sounds so extreme. My God, you must have had some hell of a fight.
Yeah, I know. It was on accident, man. I'm telling you.
Cinder blocks are only available at a building materials place, something like that.
Okay.
Or the big hardware store down in Crestwood.
Okay.
It's a full-service hardware store. This place doesn't have anything like that.
Okay.
Good luck.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your help.
All right.
Do you know how to get blood stains out of...
I love it. The old guy is just like trying to be helpful. You do have a hell of a problem. Probably thinking about his own welfare. I got to get away from this guy so he doesn't kill me too. Take a look at this. The illegal alien truck driver, another one of these Indians with a CDL from California, killed a couple who had been married for just 16 days. This white couple right here. Oregon Democrats released him back onto the streets. Thankfully, ICE just arrested his ass. We want more of these Indians in America, ladies and gentlemen. Indian villager digs up his sister's corpse and carries her to the bank so he can withdraw $211 from her account. Yep, I just so much want that to be my neighbor. Let's bring more of them into the country. This teacher who boasted about running a secret LGBTQ pride club for her kids was just named, quote, Teacher of the Year at Christina K-12 in Delaware. Private school, I'm sure getting government money as well. And there you have what's going on there. A secret LGBTQ club for children. And she got the award for Teacher of the Year. Ilhan Omar, and she's reading a little bit about the world wars we've been in.
The last time the Alien Enemies Act was invoked, it was used to detain and deport German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI.
During World War XI. Now, I know my public education wasn't that great, but I don't know how they missed 9 world wars. This level of stupidity is unfathomable to someone of my intellect, and I'm sure yours as well. Absolutely unfathomable. How could you be this? There's no way to misread World War II, to understand Roman numerals. And even if somebody wrote something ridiculous on a piece of paper, maybe it said World War 56. You wouldn't read 56. You would know somebody screwed up. No, nobody screwed up. Somebody wrote World War II, and she wrote World War XI, because that is how unintelligent and uneducated these people are. But there's a great boon, because SCOTUS just had their ruling, and we're going to be talking about that shortly when it comes to this what was illegal, but legal, of course, by way of the anti-white interpretation of all of our laws, that non-whites had to be represented in government. So districts had to be cut so that you would have people like Ilhan Omar saying World War XI, and you would have people like Hank Johnson down there in Georgia. If you recall, years ago, Hank Johnson was worried that if we put too many troops on Guam, Guam would tip over and capsize. This is what the right to self-defense looks like in our fairy tales.
Are you lost, little girl?
No.
Yes, that's how it's supposed to be done. She's not lost. Little Red Riding Hood tale has a very different ending now when you inject the right to self-defense. Now, I'm sorry I've got to do this to you all. This is one of those very emotional clips. This horse's owner, a man named Pedro, 70-some years of age, passed away, and he's had this mare for a very long time, and they were very close, and they decided that when he passed, they would bring the mare in to see Pedro and see him off, and they literally, they put him in this facility here so that they could open the doors and bring the mare in. They're walking the mare in right now, and I'll just let this play. That was a wail of pain when this horse saw that her master had passed on. Check out this story about Donald Trump. Everybody has so much negative to say about him. Here's a story that you don't get to hear that happens in the real life of Donald Trump behind the scenes.
You need to hear this story. The mainstream media is not going to report it.
So my son was a really world-class athlete, and January 17th of 2020, he had a really serious brain injury. There was a time they thought that they lost his pulse altogether. And when he woke up, he was just different. I mean, here you had a world-class athlete that wrestled all over the world since he was 12 years old, and he couldn't touch his nose. He couldn't walk without shuffling his feet. He had short-term memory loss. Couldn't add 5+3. He was in high school at that time. The president found out about it, and he gave me a call immediately. And one thing that the president joked about was, like, he said, let me get this straight. He doesn't know who you and Christy are, but he knew who I was, because the only question you got right is who the president was. And he said Trump, with his cocky grin on his face. But the president didn't understand the severity of it, but he heard it in my voice, and immediately he went to work. I told him we had to get to Bakersfield, California, to the Center for Neural Skills, which is one of the best neural rehabilitation places in the world. And the president offered us in his plane, his personal plane. And I said, sir, we can't fly. We got to drive. We get there, and he called almost every day for 2 weeks checking on Jim. And then he says, I'm going to come see him. And now this is the middle of the election. This is Bakersfield, California. Really not an area he's got to go campaign. He took the time to come up there and see Jim. The center told us that the short-term memory loss something would trigger it. Some big event would eventually trigger where he'd start retaining stuff. Until then, he was still having issues. And the president arrived, and of course there was cameras and everybody around. And of course, none of the media ever talked about it, which was funny because the president called him on stage and talked to him. And then we went to the back, and the president didn't talk to me. He didn't know I was in. I mean, he didn't even care if I was in the room. Here's a guy that's been over, and his tie is about as long as my son because my son's it stunted his growth, and so he's 5'3" the rest of his life. And his team came to him twice and said, "Sir, we got to go. We got to go." On the third time they came over to him, he looked at him. And he says, "Hey, I guarantee you that plane won't leave without me." And for the next 15 minutes, he did nothing but love on my son. That one incident jogged his memory. And from then on, he started retaining things. And Jim's attitude went from this, we're going to get through it, to this, I'm going to get through it. And every week, if not most days, the president would call and ask how he could help. He didn't do it for publicity. He didn't do it for any show. He was running in one of the toughest elections he had been in. And the guy was still that concerned about my son. Anyways, he grabbed my son and he said, "Do you know why I love your dad? Do you know why I love your dad?" And he goes, "No, sir." He goes, "Because he loves you. Because of you. Because of you." Man, he didn't do it for any other reason. I mean, here's the president of the United States, and he did it just because he cared.
The media doesn't understand.
Guys, he's got class. That's done behind the scenes. That wasn't done for show. Nobody was reporting that. It was out of his way. That's class. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Clinic checked the flu shot's effectiveness and found, after tracking 53,000 clinic employees during the 2024-2025 season, that a negative vaccine effectiveness of negative 26.9%. Check this stuff out for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, I just report what other people are reporting here. Here's Donald Trump with Melania as the shots break out. Melania terrified Trump. First time. Based. Stud. Total based. First time. Give it up and stop antiwhitism, ladies and gentlemen, in this enormous victory. The Swedish government is to stop using the term Islamophobia and instead speak of anti-Muslim racism, no hyphen. At the same time, it is also pushing for a change in terminology within the EU. Holy moly. Lightning has struck. The prophecy is fulfilled. The white race will be a people again. We doing what we do. Now you have, because of anti-white, exactly as I predicted, and anti-whiteism, you now have anti-black, anti-Muslim, etc. This is exactly the context and situation that we have always needed for our people. And that's the work of this community. Big salutes to every single one of you. Let's keep this rolling. This is Trump being a badass, welcoming the king and wife with a men suited up in Revolutionary War soldier costumes. Oh, this is so badass Trump. Look at this. A little reminder to you, King. Trump always does it right. And look at this. This should have happened. AI created this of Donald Trump coming out and getting a photo of Cole Thomas Allen with his cell phone right there. That should have happened for real. That would have been totally epic. But it is in keeping with Trump's persona. Go out there and say, there you are, bitch. Came to kill me. Let me get a photo of your ass. This is interesting. A new tool in, I guess, India for dealing with clogged toilets.
It's supposed to be better than a plunger. You put this thing over the top of it, and you don't have to use a plunger no more. And apparently it uses the suction. All right, I see that's pushing it up. That's gross. Give it the old pushy push.
I don't think it I don't think it worked out. I mean, there's your Indian tech right there. I don't think it worked out the way it was supposed to. That guy looked like he was gonna puke. Oh my God, that was disgusting. Now, we've all seen sloths, and we all think they're so terribly cute and slow and inoffensive. And so we see them crossing the road. They get hit by cars all the time. And so this guy on a motorcycle decides, or a moped or something, that he's going to go rescue the sloth. Let's see what happens. Oh, he's going to help him over. Here we go. Oh, bitch, I'm going to kick your ass for that. Sloth attack. He's trying to bite him. That sloth's like, bitch, I was crossing it at my own pace. I guess they can be fast when they want to be. It's all just a scam all along. They're pretending to be that slow. Here's a bunch of white guys being white guys.
We're gonna get your babies. Oh my gosh.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my God.
We love nature. Election footage here that is being reviewed by the DOJ. They have all the evidence now, and this in particular in Fulton County. We won't watch all of it, but you remember the bins that came out and were counted when they stopped the counting? DOJ has the footage.
At about 8 o'clock in the morning, we're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out.
So ultimately, all of the hardcore cheating data is now in the hands of the DOJ, and we'll see what will end up happening. But they've got the info. Trump introduces a new advisor, Jack Sparrow, who will be in charge of reopening the Strait of Hormuz. I think it's probably going to be open immediately. Just the knowledge that Jack Sparrow is going to show up will be enough. Let's do it for real. Can we get him at the White House dressed up just like that? I don't think he likes Trump, but I think if you offered him enough money, he would show up. Jack Sparrow to go open the Strait of Hormuz. He's going to go down there and put the whore in Hormuz. I tell you that. And finally, we have this. In Florida, because of the giant influx of people moving from other parts of the country to Florida for the freedom down there, they crossed the barrier at which they could reevaluate the districts in Florida because of that influx. Totally legal for them to reevaluate the state. And they did so. And you can see here a non-white, anti-white with a bullhorn in the state government. This is exactly how the West is supposed to run, of course, is protesting. This is while they are in session and taking the vote on this, which, by the way, passed. And now Florida looks like this.
It is. It's a violation of the Constitution. I'm out of order, but y'all are doing illegal.
Representative Persons Mullica has waived closed. The question now recurs on final passage of HB 1D. The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will proceed to vote. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? The clerk will lock the machine and announce the vote.
83 yeas, 28 nays, Mr. Speaker.
Show the bill passes. Read
The bill
next
passes.
bill.
Let's rock.
The ice cream wizard, cryomancer of delight, incites a slicing, freezing blizzard. Anti-whites start a fight, but then they whine, quiver, and shiver. Then he dices up their gizzards, livers, eyes, and fingers for dinner. His radids are getting big and fat from all the anti-white attacks. He tries to yank them out of hats, but then the bastards get trapped. He's had enough of the crap, just wants to be left alone, so he befriended Captain Flower to defend his frozen home. Sprinkles of vengeance and camel of comeuppance, drizzle to perfection for white positive justice. He's the only swashbuckler who's never touched a cutlass. When cool papa comes a stomping and the whites become gutless. Fuck this! Fuck this! Fuck this! Magic incantation creates an avalanche of flavor. All these anti-white traitors have to face the wrath of nature. Illicit invaders, seditious mayors, afraid to go to sleep. Cool papa invades their dreams, frays their brains, and makes them weep. His face a vision of a Christmas tree that makes them piss in their skinny jeans. A disintegrating symphony of delicious forbidden wizardry. Anti-white smirk real smart, those orgulous perverts, they're gonna wish they never fucked with the sorcerer of Sherbert. Sprinkles of vengeance and caramel of comeuppance, drizzle to perfection for white positive justice. He's the only swashbuckler who's never touched a cutlass. When cool papa comes a stomping, anti-whites become gutless. Fuck this! Fuck this! Fuck this! Cool papa swashes epically, leaves comments on the tube, but anti-whites run the site, so they always get removed. He wants to conjure lots of soft serve in a waffle cone of doom and submerge all those jerks until their noggins turn blue. Forks and noses fill with peanuts, lungs inflate with gumdrops, rotating ice cream machine hell for anti-white corrupt cops, fighting for white well-being. Cool papa's never gonna stop. Justice served light and freezing with a cherry on top. Sprinkles of vengeance and caramel of comeuppance, drizzle to perfection for white positive justice. He's the only swashbuckler who's never touched a cutlass. When cool papa comes a stomping, anti-wits become gutless. Fuck this! Fuck this!
Cool Papa J Magic song made by the great Ivan Ziagabud, and you will find that song playing on White Wellbeing Radio, ladies and gentlemen. You'll find the link to that in the description on YouTube. There's a block of links at the very top of the description. It is in there. I think it's very near the top. Click on that. It brings up the player automatically. You can press play. I think you could just also wait and it will start automatically playing. I've got it already on my phone as a tab. I just click it and the music starts rocking. I have a hell of a good time. I blast it everywhere I go. You want to participate, and that is another product, of course, of the Foundation for White Wellbeing.org. We got our main stories coming in today, and we're going to get to in just a moment. Cool Papa J Magic. Constitution has become nothing but a series of pretexts to harm whites like everything else. So very true. Archangel is here in the house. Good to see you, champ. Let's see what else. Samuski says, does that not follow that format of how we use anti-white and anti-whiteism? Exactly, it does. We did that. Samuski, I think a couple of you were maybe getting some some moist eyes, myself as well. That was a horrible, that horse, the grief that horse expressed at that moment, seeing her master passed on, man, that went straight to the heart. Ilhan is married to a white cuck, says Phil the Angry Irish Peasant. Same with Kamala Harris. Is this plausible deniability for their anti-white vitriol? Nah, they don't need it. They don't need plausible deniability. They just are finding that there are white, anti-white cucks in their millions, regrettably. That's why we oppose anti-whiteism and anti-whites, because our problem is with anti-whites, not with a particular group of people. Novi Hora is here. Good to see you, brother. JK160 is here. Good to see you, brother. Henry. Novi says, hell, Jason, I really love looking at Eva. We all do. Something would be wrong, really wrong, if you didn't love looking at her. If she's for our people, that's great. That is great. You're 100%. And she's been attacked, right, for defending the white race. And that's all well and good as long as you put her in the category of not leader, not thought leader, not org leader, not somebody giving some sort of strategic advice or anything. If you just put her in the proper block, that she is an attractive and bright white woman who objects to anti-whiteism. She should call it anti-whiteism. And then she should be directing people to the strategies that work for whites. She seems right now to be a little bit too occupied with these videos and photos of her. So these glam videos and glam, and that tells you everything you really need to know. You're not going to find like glam videos of me. I'm here for the benefit of you all. I'm here to empower you all. I'm here for us to recapture our destiny. Eva Valdingerbrook makes the majority of her stuff are glam shoots, photos and videos like you saw, with the proper lighting and filters and everything just right to accentuate her looks. A female can never lead men, ever, ever. It leads us to perdition. So, but I agree. She's good to look at. Cindy Ben is here. Yeah, I said insurance fraud cat. For the one whose legs didn't work. Oh my God. I'm going to be laughing about that for years to come. Go back and watch that. I was actually getting ready for bed, and I saw that video, and I was ruined. I was ruined for like an hour just watching it over. That cat, like, fuck this, getting religion, getting lost. Whatever that is could kill that woman. I'm out of here. I don't care if his legs don't work right. Oh my God, that was funny. Now, what do we have over here? Did anybody tag me over here on Premium Rumble? Hello to everyone over there. Is that Nightly? Is that Nightly Night? Says, finally got a notification on time. You see? That's why you gotta put the alarm in the phone of when we're gonna be getting together. You gotta follow me on Telegram. That's gonna be the least likely place. Could still happen there to undermine us, but you got to follow elsewhere and put those alarms on your phone for when we're live. We're just not gonna. You're gonna be like Knight here, who's gonna be saying, "Whoa, I finally got an alert," and that's because of the uniquity of the work that we do here. What we do is truly unique, and it is destructive to anti-whiteism. As a consequence, they want to prevent you from hearing about it. They're not going to be writing me up in the Spectator or Time Magazine or any of these saying, well, look at this guy in this community. They're not going to do that. The system will never tell you about a genuine threat. So thank you. Good to see you. Created for your lies, it looks like, says, no, I got the only thing anti-whites should ever be known for is that they're anti-white. Who they say they are as a person or their race, sex, doesn't matter. Nothing about them matters, but their anti-whiteism. 100%. Big salutes to Created. Well said. Exactly. It's the only thing that matters. All right. I don't see any other tags for yours truly over there, but good to see everybody. Low Tech is over there. Ivan has showed up over there as well. Slots. is over there, right, with Bones Secure, 2 total heroes. Hello, hello. Glubwub, and we'll come back to your financial gift when we get to that point of our gathering, but good to see you. And just checking out the other platforms now, looking okay. Nobody coming across here on X. So why don't we go ahead and jump into Benny Johnson talking about the Supreme Court firing a smackdown on non-whites. Let's hear what he has to say.
Differently by the colors of their skins. I don't want the federal government to engage in federally mandated racism and segregation. These are things that everyone should agree with. Certainly libs would. Yet libs have used the Voter Rights Act to segregate our country based on skin color so that they could rig congressional districts like this in the Deep South, where every one of these states votes for Donald Trump by between 10 or 40 points. They have been able to carve out congressional districts based on how many black people lived there and perceived injustices that exist today.
He's not really explaining that very well. And we talked about this briefly. Maybe he does a better job as he continues to talk about it, but talked about that last night and with Cato. And what they've done is they have said there has to be this much representation, even if you don't have districts that create the representation. You have to have this many blacks, this many non-whites. And of course, specifically leaning on blacks. And then by way of that argument, the extension to all non-whites, as we've seen here, and we study here, in federal government, which means that white people are being discriminated against. White people who would like to run for office are being discriminated against, persecuted, and the white constituents have their vote and their will nullified by the creation of these artificial districts who send non-white politicians to the government to represent the only thing that they represent, which is anti-whiteism and their individual races. They get together with black caucuses. None of this would exist if it weren't for this misreading of the law in the United States. Why is it misread? Because the social morality determines what is moral or immoral when it comes to the laws. And so laws that are deemed immoral are voided by the interpretation, and they'll even dilate, they'll even create things that don't exist in the law. And that's what you have here ultimately. So you've had for generations after generations, millions and millions and millions, and I mean, if we're counting every election, hundreds of millions of white people who've been disenfranchised by this anti-whiteism at the federal level. And nothing, of course, done about it. It's instantiates in law. And now finally, the Supreme Court, because of this Louisiana case, coming to the fore, and the Supreme Court said, well, this is obviously a transgression. And so they knocked it back a bit. We're going to see it might initially be a hard blow to Democrats and anti-white non-whites who want to run for office on the basis of being anti-white and appealing to their non-white constituents that are cut. I mean, you can see Louisiana was the worst case, where you can see this blue stretched across the totality of the state to create, on the basis of race for blacks, this constituency so that they can have anti-white politicians in government. Now, remember, what does this mean? Government is razor thin. The representation of Republicans and Democrats razor thin. And as you've seen, obviously since the 1950s and William F. Buckley with the start of conservatism, you've seen nothing but failures. You've seen nothing but laws and norms and et cetera changed across the United States as a consequence of these people being in office. Anti-whiteism put them there.
In 2026, I don't think so. Nonetheless, Democrats are able to peel off dozens of seats in the deep red South in order to try and rig elections through racial lines. And that's what this is. Take, for example, Louisiana. Look at this district. What in the sweet hell is this exactly? It looks like a Rorschach blot test. It looks like Joe Biden did some of Hunter Biden's cocaine and went down to the Oval Office and had a time with
Benny Johnson drops a joke like a heart attack. Don't bother.
The auto pen on full power. How could you possibly draw this? I don't know. It looks like a Jackson Pollock painting. But this is what a district looks like, and it's a total abomination. Looks like a literal pathogen or virus. When Democrats draw a line based on how many black people live in the district. It's wrong. It's illegal. And it was the subject of a Supreme Court ruling that was just handed down. Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel is coming out with a doomsday movie this summer, but doomsday for Democrats is here early. Supreme Court signals that it will limit the Voting Rights Act rule. That rule was just handed down seconds ago. The Supreme Court has tossed the Louisiana House map in major Voting Rights Act win for the GOP ahead of the midterms. Let's go ahead and pop on in here and read in a massive, massive ruling. SCOTUS guts Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, making it harder to challenge racially discriminatory maps. Oh, no. Let's go ahead and look at what the impact could be and what's actually happening. And this is the framing, of course, by Democrats. This is what I kind of can't figure out here exactly. Like, if we are all created equal, why are we drawing, if Martin Luther King Jr. is saying, I don't want to be judged by my skin color. If that's the case, then why are you drawing racial maps? Aren't you against redlining? Isn't that I love it because at least I have a defensible worldview. Right?
They have a defensible worldview too, Benny. It's anti-whiteism. That's how they can always arrive at anti-white conclusions. This is the kind of cuck response that cucks make all the time. It's like, they just make no sense. They're hypocrites. Well, that's been the conservative line since 1950. And look at where we are today. So it doesn't work. And the only pushback that's happening is because of the anomaly Donald Trump. And it will end when Donald Trump is gone. So this strategy does not work, Benny.
Right? Which is that people should be treated equal. I'm a Christian. I think that God loves everyone and created human beings. And so, well, I mean, that doesn't obviously mean open borders. You shouldn't take that to, the insane left wing.
And did you just see how he realized his own argument was undermined?
Conclusion, right? That there should be no nation states or anything like that. But like you should at least have human dignity for people. And so how does redlining or carving people up based on their skin color and putting them in little pots, creating little ghetto, literal congressional ghettos for people to live in, how is that in any way consistent with a worldview that all people should be created? It's not. But for generations, Democrats have been able to rig the South and do exactly that. And you can see the results here, taking deep, dark red states and making them left wing. I said, and you hate to brag here, but this was a post from 9 months ago, the South is insanely rigged by Democrats to steal Republican seats in red states that vote for Trump over 40 points. This is not democracy. This is a government-mandated racism, and now it's over. Democrats—
idiocy. Government-mandated anti-whiteism, Benny.
—are losing their minds. Today's ruling could help secure 27 more red seats in Congress. So eat it, Virginia. Cement GOP House control for a generation. Rewrite redistricting rules or state legislatures, city councils, and school boards. Without racial protections, maps could be redrawn with almost no limits. Yeah. Oh, you mean like what you did in Virginia? Like what you're trying to do in California? These jackasses.
Which, by the way, they went to the Supreme Court of Virginia yesterday and talked about that with Cotto last night. Going to be struck down. Thank the good Lord. For now, but if we don't recapture our destiny with these tools, then eventually the courts will not be siding with us.
It must be really hard. I mean, it's just straight up pathological to be able to hold two competing ideas in your mind.
You see how wrong conservatives are? It must be pathological to hold competing ideas. They're not hypocrites. For the love of God, Benny.
Same time, it is the definition of insanity. The Supreme Court struck down Louisiana's congressional map on Monday, finding that the Pelican state unconstitutionally added a second majority black House district in a major decision that implicates future elections. I thought the states were up, the elections were on a state level, right? Isn't this up to the states? Isn't that the argument libs always use? The federalism, right? They only want—
You can't hold libs to their argument. Libs. You can't hold the anti-whites to their arguments, dumbass.
Federalism, when it cuts one way. Well, here's the cut. Louisiana has been forced by lower courts to create majority black districts, which is insane. This is something that was, totally coded in a generation long gone in 1965. With a very different, right at the, so the epoch of the Civil Rights Act and so on, a very, very different America. And the Supreme Court rightly struck it all down. The Trump administration and state officials challenged the new map, arguing that the racial gerrymandering violates the 14th Amendment, which guarantees citizens equal protection under the law. The court agreed in a 6-3 decision. It destroyed the grid to break down racial boundaries and the Voting Rights Act. And now this is no more. So now—
could result in 24 or more seats for Republicans. So that'll be the end of the razor-thin margin of anti-whites at the federal government being able to get whatever they want.
Well, what could happen? 27
by way of the Democrat Party, at least.
New congressional seats. Let's go ahead and check the reactions here. Extremely grateful to see this decision. We've been waiting for, proud to co-sponsor the brief, the United States amicus in this important case, perhaps the most important development in decades for jurisprudence. Huge win at the Supreme Court today. States can no longer be forced to draw congressional maps based on race of the voters who live in them. It is critically important. For 40 years, federal judges have ordered state legislatures to draw race-based districts in the name of fairness. That's insane. It's in the name of racism. That practice ends today.
In the name of anti-whiteism. It's so hard to listen to cucks, isn't it?
States can now draw districts based on geography and communities, not based on skin color, which is...
Now, see, that's the thing where the court left it open, and we're going to see how creative the anti-white Democrats can be in achieving what they had before by way of a different definition. So you're going to have to keep your eyes peeled on it. But for now, the anti-white non-whites and their representation, their anti-white non-white representation has been smacked down by the Supreme Court, for now at least.
That is, by the way, federally mandated racism. Nothing
federally mandated anti-whiteism
in this decision changes anybody's right to vote, register, or to have any ballot counted. Bottom line, the Constitution is colorblind. Again, Frederick Douglass would agree. Boom, Supreme Court drops a massive 6-3 bomb on racial gerrymandering in Louisiana.
Unbelievable. It's just so predictable and unbelievable that the cucks can continue to ignore the reality that it's anti-white, even with this ruling right here. They specifically are discriminating against white people. They are specifically denying white people their representation in the federal government. White people. But these motherfuckers cannot say it. They will not say it. And that's because of the social morality that we are changing. Without us, we'll just get more losses from people like Benny the Cuck Johnson.
And in this decision, I just love it. The decision just says, hey, racism is illegal. You can't be racist. And maybe we should just...
racist and you can't be racist. Maybe you can't be racist. I love it. I'm a cuck and you can't be racist.
Shut up. Ay says truck driving is being white erased. A truck blocked the road to the freeway. He got out of his truck while with the composure of a child asking me, help me. No, this road. How do get to... And then I guess what is there more to that? Yes, it's totally being white erased. Cool Baba J Magic says I followed a woman when I was younger, moved across the country to live near her family, and everything was a brainwashed beta male. It was hell. Literally couldn't have gone worse. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I think the anti-whiteism and the brain poisoning of our young men to behave like betas, to behave submissive and worshipful of women has caused literally countless guys that kind of horror and trauma. And I'm sorry to hear that. You can put that all at the feet of anti-whites and anti-whiteism. Chadistan says there was a shooting by an anti-non-white down in Georgia. Best friend's ex-husband was bunkmates with him in the military. Abel is his name. So some anti-non-white went and shot up a bunch of non-white people. Is that what you're saying? Novi Horus says, if Eva popularizes herself to popularize her white positive message, then more power to her. We need to use all of the psychology possible. She may attract young whites to white well-being. She won't attract them to us if she continues to center herself. We are here, and there's no way she doesn't know about us in the world. We've swashed on her a lot. So she knows who we are. If she is bringing people in and not directing them to what can benefit them, but keeps them focused on her beauty, then she's a bane. She's not a benefit. Samuski said, I quite lost my temper today at an old non-white man in a wheelchair who called me a racist after I told him I had no water. I used anti-white and anti-whiteism on him, and his bravado left. His bravado evaporated. Big salutes to you, champion. Big salutes to you. That is awesome. Another testimonial of victory. All the fight went out of him. Wow, what a surprise. It's kind of like that always happens when you use the dialogic, isn't it? Magnificently done. Big salutes to Samuski. Yeah, if Eva were directing people to White Wellbeing, then that would be magnificent. But I'm not seeing any of that. Right now, all I'm seeing is endless videos of her. I mean, we could watch endless videos of right-wing attractive women into perdition. That's not going to cut it. Ay says, what should I have done? It was late, so I just drove home. I think I should have got a number and called the anti-white company hiring him or the cops. I removed detail for my privacy. Yeah, I mean, you could absolutely call the police. You call the non-emergency or even the emergency police in that scenario, since he's parked out in the middle of the highway. And I wouldn't be afraid if they had my information to say, hey, this guy that doesn't seem to be an American, doesn't seem to be speaking proper English, has his truck stuck out in the middle of the road. You better go handle that before he kills somebody like so many others have killed. Henry says, I saw a video of an old British guy saying, quote, racist means white. Every race focuses on their people. It's only bad when we do it. It went viral for a few days, and now it's nowhere. Well, not a surprise. Not a surprise. And we'll be talking about them doing the exact same things they do on social media with our automobiles here in just a moment. So, okay. Chadistan is saying an anti-white, non-white guy is what he meant in Georgia, just killed some people. I have not heard about it. They haven't released the race of the people he killed yet, only their names. 2 women and 1 man. Awful. The anti-white black guy who shot 3 people in Georgia was originally from the UK. Shouldn't have been, what do you mean, in the UK either? Exactly. All right, let's go ahead and proceed to what we have here. Ladies and gentlemen, the bill has passed. It's ready to become law with the signature of Donald Trump. The government decided that it was going to compel auto manufacturers to install all of the software and hardware needed to monitor every single thing about you, including what you're saying, even reading your lips. And you'll see here somebody sharing in a moment the actual patents for these things. Now, the government is compelling auto manufacturers to do this because obviously some auto manufacturers would not do this, and then people would buy their cars. So starting in 27, just next year, this is now required by law that they have installed all of this hardware and software. Now, it's obviously going to start off with, we're just monitoring for drunk people, or we're just monitoring for that sort of thing. But this is inevitably, they have the software to be able to link with the database for people who are wanted, and they'll be looking at your face. And we've already looked at articles over the years of this facial recognition software failing. We looked at an article just a couple of months ago of a woman who was actually arrested. And while she was in jail for a bank robbery, running for a bank robbery based on the software of facial recognition. While she was in jail, she lost her dogs, she lost her home, she lost everything. Finally realized that she's not the woman. The facial recognition got it wrong. So it will be able to continually run your face through these databases, and who knows how often they'll get that wrong, and then what kind of hell and what kind of recompense will there be for that? Plenty of other things, not the least of which, of course, we've already had situations where have been hacking of these systems. And in one particular case, people were locked out of their cars because they had breathalyzers attached, and they had to blow into the breathalyzer, and the hacked software was locking them out of their vehicles, even though they had not had anything to drink whatsoever. You have cases where already there are big concerns about this, where if you are in a state of, and this is what they're already showing with the data, what these auto manufacturers are able to do, if you are in a state of anger or angst, your eyes are big, the software is reading that something is not quite right, the car will shut down. And it's going to have the ability to do that on those grounds. Whether they're going to do that immediately or not, they'll probably roll it out slowly. The biggest problem for us, of course, for those who are heretical to anti-whiteism, is that we know in these systems, just like on social media, not only do you have an anti-white bent from the top down, but you also have radical anti-whites in all of these black box departments where nobody knows what's going on. There's no way to find out who's working there, who's responsible for looking at your material, and who's responsible for doing things to you because they don't like that you're heretical to anti-whiteism. Folks, they'll be able to listen to what you're saying in the car, and they'll be able to determine, has this person said something that is at odds with anti-whiteism? Has this person talked in their car about how they like Trump and how they want all the immigrants deported? Have they even yelled about it? All that will be recorded. That data will be kept somewhere. And anti-whites working, and I'm willing to bet anti-whites from India will be working in these black box departments, and they'll be able to decide what will happen with your vehicle. Locking you out of your vehicle, in other words, the vehicle not running, is only one of the most extreme things it can do. But we know with social media what all they're able to do. They're able to glitch ban. How would you like to be glitch banned in your car? They're able to deboost you on social media. How would you like deboosting in your car? It doesn't take much imagination to find out how technical glitches and the car not being able to run at the right speed and all of these kind of things can drive you insane. You will have no recourse to find out why this is happening, how it's happening, who's responsible for it. You'll have as much recourse as you have right now with Facebook and X and all of these other platforms. But this will be with the car that you bought, that you're paying for, that you pay for the insurance on, that's on your property, that you might need in an emergency to run yourself or a loved one to the hospital. All of this now passed by both parties because they're both anti-white. So let's have a look. New car in the U.S. will be required by law to have tech that puts constant surveillance on the driver by 2027. No one is talking about this in the white sympathetic sphere except for us, because we are the only people who care about white people. We are the only community that cares about white people and realize that whites who are objecting to the anti-whiteism, what's being done to us under any guise, even if you're like a Benny Johnson who's saying, well, we just don't want racism. Even if you're like a Benny Johnson, some purple-haired anti-white freak in a black box department at Ford or GM or whatever it is going to be able to read that data that you've spoken in your car. They're going to be able to see it. They'll be able to read your lips. They have the software for that. If the noise is such that they can't understand what you're saying or you're trying to speak quietly, they'll be able to understand that. That will be recorded, and then those freaks will be deciding, is the car going to start today? Will it take 10 starts before it finally starts? Will you be able to go the speed limit of 35 initially? Maybe your car will only go 30, and no matter how hard you press on the accelerator, it won't accelerate to 35 miles an hour. Who will you call? You have the exact same recourse as you do right now with social media. None whatsoever. Your car will determine if you're sober and fit to drive, and this is, of course, where they are making their argument. This is the camel's nose under the... Don't you want to get drunk drivers off the road? The reality is that like 30 some states or something like this already have systems in place to lock the car up for a drunk driver. No, this is going far beyond that.
Us out of our cars for a variety of reasons. What else do they have planned for us? How long is it before they lock us out of our money through a digital ID or a private banking digital ID or a stable coin or tokenized dollars, right? How long is it before they lock us out of our money? How long is it before they lock us out of our electricity?
And of course, this is a woman talking about, well, the future and how much worse it could get. This is bad enough. We could talk about right now with our automobiles, bad enough.
If our social credit score dips below a certain level, can they deny us lights, heat, electricity in our own homes? What about our ability to travel? Social.
It is now in order to consider amendment number 1, printed in Part B of House Report 119-462,
For what purpose does the gentleman from Kentucky seek recognition?
Mr. Chair, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk shall designate the amendment.
Amendment number 1, printed in Part B of House Report number 119-462, offered by Mr. Massey of Kentucky.
Pursuant to House Resolution 1014, the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Massey, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky.
Mr. Chair, I rise in support of our amendment. This is co-sponsored by Mr. Perry from Pennsylvania and Mr. Roy from Texas. And I regret that we have to offer this amendment. What I'm going to describe will probably sound like a bad science fiction movie, but that's what's written into law. Right now in law, that's going to be implemented it says for 2026 and beyond. Now, the reality is the technology doesn't exist, but that doesn't keep legislators from imagining things that they would like to do to infringe on civil liberties. But there is a law that states that every vehicle manufactured is going to have a kill switch in it. The car itself will monitor your driving. And if the car thinks that you're not doing a good job driving, it will disable itself. So the car dashboard becomes your judge, your jury, and your executioner. Imagine this. We got a snowstorm coming. A mom takes her kids out. They're going to the grocery store. It's snowing. They're trying to get some groceries before the big storm hits. She swerves for a pothole. The neighbor's pet gets in the way, swerves for that. First responder goes by. She pulls over. Her car says, "You got one more swerve, and then we're going to ground you." There it is. The next thing she has to avoid, an icy patch in the road. The car has adjudicated her as unsuitable for driving. It disables the vehicle, and there she's stranded. My question is, how do you appeal your sentence once your car, the technology in your car, has judged you to be incapable of driving? Once it's disabled you and your children at the side of the road, how do you appeal that? Do you press a button on the dashboard? Do you start talking to an AI? What if it really was somebody who was drunk? Are you really going to send a police car after this? Disabled vehicle?
It goes on and on.
Now imagine there was an emergency outside the truck, an accident, something terrible on the ranch with a chainsaw. And I jump in this truck, but the truck, it won't shift into drive. Why? Because the cameras and sensors inside this cab won't let it shift, because it detects my eyes are big, there's a lot of emotion, there's some panic, and it doesn't feel that I'm fit to drive. Now that's not science fiction, that is happening because Ford just filed the patents. Ford actually has a series of patents down at the US Patent and Trade Office that deal with the sensors and cameras inside the cab of their truck. And if the sensors in that truck determine that you're not fit to drive, that truck will not actually shift from park to drive. Now,
don't forget that this, for people like us who object to anti-whiteism, this is only the beginning. The vehicle decides that you're too anxious, you're too angry or whatever to drive, or you've swerved too much, as Thomas Massey was pointing out, and therefore the car is going to shut off. That's not where it ends for us. That's an enormous problem, but it's not the only problem for us. I articulated how bad this will be for us.
They already have a system called telematics, and that's where they can actually pull up cameras in real time inside the cab of their fleet vehicles. Now, they actually market this to insurance companies, because the truth is, this is really about who owns the data and who owns the liability. Now, your name might actually be on the title of this truck, and you may have paid for it, but you don't own it. Now, Ford didn't file just one patent. They filed a stack of them, all within months of each other. Are you sitting down? Get this. This Ford technology patent doesn't just watch you. This one puts you in jail. Ford filed a patent, serial number 0104469, where the system takes your biometric data, your face, your iris, and your fingerprint, and it runs it through a criminal database in real time. While you're sitting in your own truck, think about what that means. You wake up one morning, you walk out to your driveway, you climb into a vehicle with your name on the title, on property with your name on the deed. And before you go anywhere, Before you've done a single thing wrong, your truck is already running your face through a law enforcement database. Ford's own patent language describes this as potentially useful for police. They wrote that. Ford wrote that into the patent application. So the question isn't whether this technology can be abused. Ford already told you who it's for. You just
Now, what about with your name, your fingerprints and everything being held in a database that is hacked?
just didn't know that you were buying a cop car. Now I'm going to walk you through a few of these patents. Lip reading, cameras inside your cab, machine learning trained on lip movement datasets, cloud connected, your face processed somewhere you'll never see, stored as long as they want. Acoustic lip reading, if the cameras aren't enough, the system emits inaudible sound waves and reads the echoes bouncing off of your mouth. You can't see it, it's just happening. Biometrics, your face, fingerprint, iris, filed February 2024, and it was published August 2025. This one is assigned a serial number because it's real. Ad listening, this is scary. It monitors conversations between everyone in the cab. It serves targeted ads based on what you and others are talking about while you're driving. In Ford's words, maximum opportunity for ad-based monetization. No description of how that data is protected either. None. How about Ford Pro Telematics? Now, this one isn't a patent. This one is actually a product page. Right now, fleet managers can pull live in-cabin video feeds of drivers on their phones. Ford markets seatbelt compliance alerts with the explicit benefit of lowering insurance costs. They said it themselves. This is the infrastructure, and once the infrastructure exists, it's going to get used and abused. Now, Ford isn't alone in this. This is an arms race. Smart Eye driver monitoring software is already in over 2 million cars globally. The EU's general safety regulation mandates drowsiness systems as standard equipment going forward. GM deployed biometric seat sensors and heart rate monitoring in production trucks.
You see, this just goes on and on and on. This is absolute hell for anyone who objects to anti-whiteism. And no one's talking, and like I said, any various ways, implied ways. They're not talking about it. This is happening right now. And he's talking about Ford. He mentioned GM as well. But all car companies are now required by law to have this in their cars starting 2027. So, excuse me, all vehicles 2027 and moving on, unless something changes, are going to be equipped with this technology. The structure is going to be there, as the guy's pointing out, and it'll get used and it'll be abused. So this is anti-whiteism reaching into the very vehicles that you purchase, you pay for on property that you own, and they can shut it down anytime they want. And worse yet, as I shared a moment ago, we are going to have to deal with glitch banning and deboosting and everything else in our vehicles, just like we do on social media. Anti-whites in the different ranks and black box departments will be inflicting this on us, and there'll be no one we can turn to. In fact, they'll say to us, that's not happening. It can't happen. Government kill switch in your next car, and Congress made it happen. The federal government is moving closer to giving your car the authority to decide whether you are allowed to drive without a warrant, due process, and with no guaranteed way of reversing the decision once it's made. This did not happen quietly or by accident. It was passed into law by the Biden administration's Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, buried deep in Section 24220. And it moves on to the point that we have here today with this wildly evil system, because it's able to just take what you have paid for, what you own, away from you, so that you essentially, your vehicle becomes a paperweight. But the worst part about it, I think, is not going to be the threat of them shutting down the car I'm in so that it can't drive, but it's going to be the threat of it not working properly and it being done by the anti-whites in these systems. Just like I'm deboosted here, everywhere, the most deboosted man on planet Earth, the vehicle I'm driving, if I get one 27 and moving forward, will be able to be deboosted and glitch banned and make my life hell. How would you like driving a vehicle that you take to the grocery store, but you don't know if it's going to start when you leave the grocery store. It's not a mechanical problem. It's a glitch ban on you to make your life miserable. You're heretical to anti-whiteism. If you don't think that's going to happen, if you don't think anti-whites will do that, you're a fool. Everywhere you go will become problematic with an unreliable vehicle. Everything you try to do will become problematic with an unreliable vehicle. This was the article on the cyber attack that left drivers locked out of their cars by their own breathalyzers that they had to blow into. So you can already see the technology is already being hacked. It's already being manipulated. Let me see what you all have to say. We'll get out of here for the Rebel Roundtable. Thank you all for stopping by. Samuski says you won't be able to escape this stuff. The only way you can pass through this tech bottleneck is to be white positive. Exactly. Chattistan says Henry Ford named Dedues. Now his company is owned by anti-whites, spying and shutting down white human being vehicles for being heretical to anti-whiteism. Pathetic. That's a great point. That is an absolutely great point, Chattistan. Being anti-Jew did nothing. In fact, it's the exact opposite. We now have rank anti-whiteism in the company of the guy that was complaining about the dues. And now, just like you said, our position to trouble our lives further in our IRL lives, not just on social media, trying to do normal things like go to work, take a vacation. How would you like to pack the family up in the car for a vacation and the car decides it's not going to work properly on the drive and on the drive back? Another failure of it's the dues. Henry says his sister's thinking about a Toyota. Is it a good car? What do you recommend? Toyota makes some good cars, especially that Toyota truck, which I hope they make available in the United States. It's going to be like $32,000. And that would be fantastic. All right, let's see what else we have going on here. Thank you all for coming over. Janice is with us. Good to see you, Janice. Let's see. Who else do we have? Any tags? All right, I don't see any more. Let's listen to a bit of music while you get an opportunity to post, tag me at No White Guilt, and I'll take a look for our financial gifts, and we will roll.
Our hearts are happy, our minds awake, through webs of lies, the truth we take, with truthful words, we lift the veils, together we rise, Prometheum hell, go free, go free, our voice is strong, we'll write a story where we belong, no anti-white narrative, no anti-white lies, we'll recapture our destiny, let the phoenix rise. In places dark, we shine the light, we light the way, we tame the night, white positive voices speak loud and clear, there is no doubt, our destiny's near, go free, go free, our voice is strong, we'll write a story where we belong, no anti-white narrative, no anti-white lies, we'll recapture our destiny, let the phoenix rise. We won't bow down, we won't be blamed, We'll stand and fight. We're not ashamed. One people strong. One truth we see. As a people united, we'll go free. Go free. Go free. Our voice is strong. We'll write a story where we belong. No anti-white narrative. No anti-white lies. We'll recapture our destiny. Let the phoenix rise.
Give it up for Spartan Lambda. Epic piece of music. We know he's not here yet, ladies and gentlemen, but the dude bro moment. Big salutes, raucous emojis, $50 financial gift from the dude bro moment. And he will write when those dollars come in here for White Wellbeing. 07s, raucous emojis, crowns and gems for that champion. Thank you so very much. Also over here on Entropy, we have Hyperborean Dream, 07s, crowns and gems, $25. $25 for White Wellbeing. And he writes with those $25 for White Wellbeing. God bless you, good sir, and great to see you. Hyperborean Dream, dude bro moment over here. Thank you so very much, champions. We have over here to my right, your left, well done. $5 as he walks into the house of Swash. What a champion. $5 bill. He says, God bless. God bless you, good brother, and great to see you. The great well done. Swiveling back over here to my left, over here on Premium Rumble, we have Glubwub also entering the house of Swash with a $5 bill. Thank you so much, good brother. He says, just finished reading Go Free for the first time. This framework needs to be applied within all white advocacy groups, but especially on an individual daily life basis. Essential reading for a Westman. Wow, let's give it up. What an epic testimonial Glubwub makes over here for $5 bill. Add several zeros on the end of that is the value of that testimonial. How epic is this? Just finished reading Go Free for the first time. And he concludes, after reading Go Free for the first time, that this framework, this strategy, this framework needs to be applied within all caps, white advocacy groups, but especially on an individual daily life basis. Yes, you're 100% right. Essential reading for all Westmen. An epic use of the word Westman. Well done. God bless you for that, Glubwub. Totally awesome. Crowns and gems for Glubwub. What a beautiful testimonial that is. And that's been my sentiment all along, that Go Free can be applied everywhere. And that's how I presented us and the work we do and the Go Free strategy as no threat to all of these other groups, but they never were interested. They still were never interested. And now we can see that probably it was not only selfish motivations, keeping themselves at the center and the savior and all of this sort of business, not only the issue of wanting to talk about these problems, these challenges, and etc., in a way that you're peddling without a chain, so you keep people on the hook, and not only providing people their scapegoats, but also now the evidence that I've talked about for so long that they're anti-white backers, financial backers, and protectors, as we see with Bubble Boy Fuentes, that they would not be interested in any white positivity, in any white-centric focus. They're simply not interested. What a surprise, isn't it? The anti-whites wanting you to be anti-non-white and only willing to pay for that. Thank you so much, Glubwub. That's epic. We have Land of the Fake, home of the gay, just came into the house of Swash with a $5 bill as well. Great show as always. Thank you so much. We went a little bit long today, but it was worth it. we had a bunch of pieces of news that came up at the last minute that I really felt that were worth giving some voice to, making you all aware of them. And okay, didn't miss anybody. We do have, let's see, is that Carva something or other? Carve saying hello over there on D-Live. A big hello to you. Thank you. Good to see you. And be sure to follow me on Odyssey, YouTube, Rumble, whatever your preference will be, because I think D-Live will be gone in short order. Sad to say, but that is indeed the case. Okay, looks like we're good over there. Didn't miss anybody coming back around here. Coming around to the home stretch like Secretariat, making sure we didn't miss anybody, and I'll look for your tags. We're going to be rolling over to the Rebel Roundtable, 1 to 2 hours of fun on a space on X, right on my X account, No White Guilt NWG, at No White Guilt NWG. And looks like we haven't missed anybody financially gifting. We got everybody. Very good. Never like to miss anybody financially gifting. And let's see. I unlike Bubble Boy, who has disdain for the people who give him money, I have deep gratitude. I says I knew where he needed to go. I was going that way, and I unblocked the freeway for all the white people stuck on this road. I drove off minutes later when I got the key road there. Yeah, what an experience that was for you, man. Sean says the company I drive for has had the ability to watch its drivers over the dash cam in real time for many years now. And that's awful. Zombie is here. Zombie Force, hello and welcome. I'll just point out, some people will remember the phrase going postal. And we had a spate in the U.S. of postal workers losing their minds. And it was because of the endless surveillance that was inflicted upon them in their places of work. And so they drew back that surveillance, and people stopped losing their minds. Thunder Lunda Down Under says, I've always thought they'd make going even 1 over the speed limit will be strictly illegal. And so drivers will be incentivized to go with driverless cars just to save their own ass. Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably something these automobiles in 27 and moving forward, they'll decide. Who knows what they'll decide, and when will those decisions change? Maybe they'll let you go 10 over. Maybe they'll let you go 12. Maybe 9. Maybe something will happen and they'll change it to 5 over. And who knows? Who knows? It would just absolutely ruin the driving experience. All right, I think we got all the time. Mestizo Cough coming in here. Did you see what I sent you on Twitter DMs yesterday? No, I haven't. Let me see if I can take a quick look at, let's see, where is it? There we go. There's a link here. And I shall click on it. Oh, this is the funeral. Story about the funeral for the fallen deputy who was murdered that Mestizo Carf shared with me the story about, and we covered here. Randy Hoppert. Awful. And apparently it looks like the people in the town turned out to honor him. What a tragic tale. We have so many of these good guys, normal, regular guys, losing their lives. They've got families, they've got wives, they've got children, and they're losing their lives to these illegals and everything else. They can't, the justice system completely white erased. They risk their lives to arrest these people, and then they go through this revolving door justice system. They're right back out on the streets. We just saw what was it Oregon did with this illegal alien who illegally obtained his CDL and just killed a white couple who were brand new, 6 weeks married. And because of his driving, he killed them, and Oregon just freed him. And if it wasn't for ICE and Donald Trump administration, he would have murdered them with impunity. He would have had impunity to do that again and again and again. So another reason why we have to win this fight for our well-being. REI says, did you see what I DM'd you? No, I didn't. But I will look at it. And Lunder, he got back to me after I got back to him. He was fast, I guess. He was fast. Fast on the DMs. Quick draw. Quick draw. Instead of quick draw McGraw, it's quick draw Lunder. Quick draw Thunder Lunder. But we've had a great roll in tonight. We talked about a lot of important things, and things are only getting more. We're seeing victories, and we're seeing things get worse across the country at the same time. Good Lord willing, this decision by the Supreme Court of the United States and the Supreme Court of the state of Virginia will see these districts turn bright red across so much of the country. And then we'll be dealing more so with the anti-whiteism of the Republican Party, which is still awful, but not as bad as the Democrats, like Bubble Boy and so many of the others would have you invest in. But another glorious gathering, and we'll turn it over to the one and only 4 Null. I don't know if he's still around, if he's still chatting and watching, but we'll turn it over to him, and then we'll be heading over to the Rebel Roundtable. Great to see you. Also, the driverless cars may decide that one doesn't need to go where we told the car that we wanted to go, maybe even to a white positive get-together in Virginia. Well, exactly. You're right. You're right. The car might suddenly decide to glitch out on you. Oh, you're going to be headed to the white positive gathering in Virginia? Well, the car will start having a problem. You're not going to be able to make it to the event because the car is not turning properly anymore. The power steering isn't working as well. Something's really wrong with it. All of that's possible now with the tools that they are putting into the vehicles. Absolutely despicable. We'll be heading over to the Rebel Roundtable. I hope to see you there, ladies and gentlemen, for some more fun. Remember, it's up to us to recapture the destiny of Western time, because if we don't do it, nobody does it. You've got to be active. You've got to be in the fight. You've got to be in the trenches. And I will be there, shoulder to shoulder with you in the trenches. God bless you all. Go for it.
Find me a wealthy woman in a line of work that won't take no diploma, and I ain't got much to lose and a lot to gain. Some call me a good time fella. I ain't black and I ain't a yellow. I'm a white man looking for a place to do my thing. I don't want no handout living, don't want any part of anything they're giving, 'cause I'm proud and white and I got a song to sing. Well, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you want to get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. I'm a white man looking for a place to do my thing. Now hump and get it. Yeah, I'm a small town man, I've been around a little. I like guitars and I like a fiddle, and that's the kind of soul it takes to fan my flame. I'm a blue-eyed Billy, kind of rough and ruddy. I have to work to be somebody. I'm a white man looking for a place to do my thing. I don't want no handout living, don't want any part of anything they're giving, 'cause I'm proud and white and I got a song to sing. Well, I said a few things